it's my time, think it's my year, yeah. I really feel it's my time, think it's my year, yeah. I really feel it's my time, think it's my been ready. Used to hold myself back, my self-esteem been better. Gotta keep on chugging, ran through everything in front of me. Might smoke bed in heaven, got a whole agenda. Can't aspire to get ahead, so bump that, it's no surrender. Got a dollar flipped up, I'm trying to get it in FT to get them when they're in hand and crypto. Learn how to fix that. I don't really hold out of books, but I'ma learn how to fix that. Some opportunities that never come unless you paying attention, so no, I can't miss that. Moving, MVP, I got the record, I might have to pro something. Big jumper worthy, they gon' have to retire my jersey early. Whole crew coming, had to work something, cause I had nothing in my pocket, yeah, I did all that. Big plans, partners trying to make profits, yeah, I did all that. Work, sweating, tears breaking, even no wins, yeah, I did all that. Had to make it happen, putting hours in my practice, I did all that, yeah. I can't take no loss, yeah, I don't even know what it costs, I hit the ground, then it go off, yeah, hit the ground, then it go off, yeah. I can't take no loss, yeah, I don't even know what it costs, yeah. I hit the ground, then it go off, yeah, hit the ground, then it go off, yeah. Run it, ooh, I really feel it's my time, think it's my year, yeah. I really feel it's my time, think it's my year, yeah. I really feel it's my time, think it's my year, yeah. I really feel it's my time, think it's my big dog, walking big talk, young veteran, living legend, bet I'm better than them. This is my ship, I'ma jack it like Letterman, y'all better not let them in, they gon' rotate this, so I keep the pedaling, started a chain, the cycle is heaven sent, this is from God, but I'm not your reverend, not in the pulpit, I'm a pit bull in this element, yeah, said you gon' pull up then settle it, yeah, I've been married to this hustle, this is my ring, watch out step in it, yeah, and I ain't even got a yard, but I'ma get it here, watch out touchdown, pulling plans out the clutch, everybody getting crushed, the cut down is for us now, have to work something, cause I had nothing in my pocket, yeah, I did all that, big plans, partners trying to make profits, yeah, I did all that, work, sweating, tears breaking, even no wins, yeah, I did all that, had to make it happen, putting hours in my practice, I did all that, yeah, I can't take no loss, yeah, I don't even know what it costs, I hit the ground, then it go off, yeah, hit the ground, then it go off, yeah, I can't take no loss, yeah, I don't even know what it costs, yeah, I hit the ground, then it go off, yeah, hit the ground, then it go off, yeah, run it, ooh, I really feel it's my time, think it's my year, yeah, I really feel it's my time, think it's my year, yeah, I really feel it's my time, think it's my year, yeah, I really feel it's my time, think it's my, yeah. Run it, I can't take no loss, I don't even know what it costs, I hit the ground, then it go off, yeah, hit the ground, then it go off, yeah, I can't take no loss, I don't even know what it costs, yeah, I hit the ground, then it go off, yeah, hit the ground, then it go off, yeah, run it, ooh, I really feel it's my time, think it's my year, yeah, I really feel it's my time, think it's my year, yeah, I really feel it's my time, think it's my year, yeah, I really feel it's my time, think it's my been ready. Used to hold myself back, my self-esteem been better. Gotta keep on chugging, ran through everything in front of me. Might smoke bed in heaven, got a whole agenda. Can't aspire to get ahead, so bump that, it's no surrender. Got a dollar flipped up, I'm trying to get it in FT to get them when they're in hand and crypto. Learn how to fix that. I don't really hold out of books, but I'ma learn how to fix that. Some opportunities that never come unless you paying attention, so no, I can't miss that. Moving, MVP, I got the record, I might have to pro something. Big jumper worthy, they gon' have to retire my jersey early. Whole crew coming, had to work something, cause I had nothing in my pocket, yeah, I did all that. Big plans, partners trying to make profits, yeah, I did all that. Work, sweating, tears breaking, even no wins, yeah, I did all that. Had to make it happen, putting hours in my practice, I did all that, yeah, I can't take no loss, yeah, I don't even know what it costs, I hit the ground, then it go off, yeah, hit the ground, then it go off, yeah, I can't take no loss, yeah, I don't even know what it costs, yeah, I hit the ground, then it go off, yeah, hit the ground, then it go off, yeah, run it, ooh, I really feel it's my time, think it's my year, yeah, I really feel it's my time, think it's my year, yeah, I really feel it's my time, think it's my year, yeah, I really feel it's my time, think it's my big dog, walking big talk, young veteran, living legend, bet I'm better than them. This is my ship, I'ma jack it like Letterman, y'all better not let them in, they gon' rotate this, so I keep the pedaling, started a chain, the cycle is heaven sent, this is from God, but I'm not your reverend, not in the pulpit, I'm a pit bull in this element, yeah, said you gon' pull up then settle it, yeah, I've been married to this hustle, this is my ring, watch out step in it, yeah, and I ain't even got a yard, but I'ma get it here, watch out touchdown, pulling plans out the clutch, everybody getting crushed, the cut down is for us now, have to work something, cause I had nothing in my pocket, yeah, I did all that, big plans, partners trying to make profits, yeah, I did all that, work, sweating, tears breaking, even no wins, yeah, I did all that, had to make it happen, putting hours in my practice, I did all that, yeah, I can't take no loss, yeah, I don't even know what it costs, I hit the ground.
Welcome back to the Angry Man Podcast with Jason and Greg. That is Jason, the chosen one. And I am Greg, a legend in my own mind. Jay, what's going on with you, bro?
Throwing me off a little bit, but I'm here.
Yeah, man, we had to do this show because of Father's Day. I just wanted to make sure. I know a lot of y'all gonna be out on Sunday afternoons, and I'm gonna be out Sunday afternoon myself, of course, getting treated for. Yeah, I mean, it's possible. It's possible. But in reality, I know I'm gonna be out. A lot of other people are probably gonna be out doing their thing. So I wanted to make sure that we got a show in this week, and we're gonna do it on this Saturday, man. It's not our normal time, but we still gonna get it in. Man, let's go ahead and start off by thanking the people that support the channel, and that's Rock Dog Interactive. Anything that you need from a website perspective, graphic design, you name it, Rock Dog Interactive does it. Reach out to them and get all of your problems solved. And then, of course, Black Father Figures. That's my boy, The League of Legacy. He actually sent me over a book, man, that he's working on. I kind of started skimming through it earlier today. Yeah, great stuff, man. Great stuff. He's really trying to do some real I would say much needed work in our community relative to Black fathers. So shout out to him. And then, of course, man, we're going to say shout out to the people that are in the chat, of course. David H., what's going on with you? Dom Kizza, Jake, of course, my guy, T. Ward of the Mic Check Podcast. If you haven't had the opportunity, please go over and check out T. Ward at the Mic Check Podcast. T. Ward, that is your cue to drop the link to your channel in the chat. Edgar Chavez, Wenda Elam, what's going on, and everybody else who's in the building currently. All right, Jay, you know how we do it, man. We don't waste a whole lot of time with all that other stuff. We get right to the meat of it. And of course, I'm going to go ahead and let you kick us off in what direction we go. I don't know if you want to start with all that Errol Spence and Terence Crawford stuff. Normally, that would take up a substantial amount of the show because a lot of people want to talk about that, right? So, Jay, what do you want to start, man? We got Regis Prograis on deck tonight. We got Oscar and Ryan going back and forth. We saw some interaction earlier this week between Devin and Shakur Stevenson. Where do you want to start this show off?
Let's go ahead and get rid of the stuff that's going on tonight. The Regis Prograis fight. He's fighting a replacement fighter. I'm messing up the dude's name already. I forget his name. I know he fought Barboza and lost by UD to him. He only has one loss.
Yeah, I don't know much about the guy, to be quite honest with you, man.
Puerto Rican fella.
Yeah. I saw that. I fully expect Regis to be victorious tonight, but you never know in the sport of boxing. I don't know a whole lot about the guy. I'm more interested in what Regis' next step is going to be because, like I said, I fully expect him to win tonight, Jay. I don't know if you haven't seen the guy fight yet, have you?
I haven't seen the guy fight at all.
Yeah, I haven't
seen
him fight.
Boxing rec to see who he's fought, and I know he fought Barboza, and that was about it. And I heard today on the Jake and Lefty show, Jake was talking about him. They pretty much he's classified as a durable fighter.
Mm-hmm.
On that, but Regis can't overlook him. Regis has to look good tonight. You know what I'm saying? Especially
he absolutely does.
He's supposed to retire. Yeah, he has to. So I mean, he's been talking a lot of noise. We're gonna see if he's gonna back it up in this fight here. It's a homecoming fight, basically, since they fight in New Orleans. But we'll see. I mean, I got Regis in this fight too, but
you got Regis in every fight.
Shaky. He's a lie.
You got Regis in every fight.
He looks shaky in this fight. It's going to lead more doubters out there. It's going to see like, okay, that's why you went with Eddie, because you're avoiding certain fighters. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, it'll lead to that discussion on him. But we'll see. I mean, that fight's tonight. Then Tszyu, Carlos Ocampo fighting tonight.
Yep.
So
that's a good one. That's a good strike
tonight. That's a good one. Ocampo looked good. Although he lost to Fundora, he looked good against Fundora. We know Spence got him up out of there, I think, in like one round. Tszyu's been talking a lot of noise. Tszyu's getting on. He's on my annoying list. He's annoying the hell out of me, man, because he's been talking so much, man. Because I remember an interview, I want to say in January. I want to say it was January, December, when he was about to fight Mel before Mel got hurt.
Yep.
Actually, no, this was well before. This was before that. This was before they actually signed, and they were at a fight area, and then they interviewed Tim. They're like, "Hey, Tim, Charles over there."
I know where you're going.
Tim booked it to the other side.
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
All of a sudden, he gets all this confidence and want to talk all this smack and everything. I'm just tired of him. he's talking about everybody now. He's like, I get it. You gotta try to build a name. You want to be your own man because you're the son of Costa Tszyu. You know, you gotta do your own thing. But gosh, if Ocampo beats him, man, that's gonna make me laugh. That's gonna make me laugh. But I don't think he will. I don't think he will at all.
I don't think he will either. I thought he looked pretty good against Tony Harrison. We'll see if he will improve on that performance. Definitely interesting to seeing that fight though, because that's mostly what I'm going to be looking for, right? How destructive does Tszyu look in this particular fight? So we'll see how that goes. I'm pretty sure everybody in the chat's going to be looking at that fight as well. But it's not normally something that we would do a prediction on, right? Maybe we'll cover it tomorrow in a video or something like that. But I don't see anything happening tonight that would require a video, but we'll see what ends up happening, right?
Yeah, so I mean, I think it's a decent matchup for sure. You know, Campo, you really can't. I want to say he's what they call the durable type fighter as well, because he's fought a lot of fighters here and there. Tim can't sleep on him, so it's going to be an interesting fight for sure. I mean, we get to see how Tim looks against a fighter that's taller than him. I believe Ocampo has a longer reach than him as well, but we'll see, because Tim's very durable and a tough fighter too. So he's smoking. But Ocampo, he went 12 rounds with Fundora. He made Fundora look a little weak there the way he's fighting him, but we'll see. Styles do make fights, so. But I mean, outside of that, I don't even know any other fighters on the undercards of either fight tonight. So I'll be watching. You know, as always, box I'm gonna watch, but we'll see. We'll see what happens there. Now moving right along. This is interesting. Haney saying that Shakur is clout chasing.
Yeah, I think it's So I saw. So we did a video about this earlier. I think it was earlier in the week. Maybe it was Monday or so. And I think I took the perspective of, I kind of see it from both stances, right? Like if I'm Shakur Stevenson, I'm going to put myself in a position as best as possible by calling out who I believe is the champion, right? Which is going to be Devin Haney. And then when you consider the fact that he's no longer the mandatory for the WBC, of course, you're trying to make as much noise as you possibly can. Now, sending a bottle over to Devin Haney with a sign on it that says sign the contract. Yeah. I can see why Devin, from his perspective, would say, dude, there's no contract to sign. A contract does not exist today. So by doing that, what you're trying to do is clout chase. Now, I don't know if it's necessarily clout chasing in the sense that that was done at some kind of event. It wasn't done, on Twitter or anything like that, on any kind of social media platform, anything like that. But I kind of see it from Devin's perspective as well. Someone also made a comment that Devin can't be mad because that was the same thing he was doing. Devin has said in the past that he can't be mad at Shakur Stevenson for calling him out because that's what he was doing when he didn't have the titles. I think why he feels is clout chasing is because Shakur is adding an element to it that doesn't exist, which is sign a contract that's not there. There's been no contract, proposed to Devin Haney and his team. I think they talked about this a little bit where I think it was his dad, Bill, or maybe it was Devin. I can't recall who it was that said this, but essentially they've been presented with several names for Devin Haney to face, one of which is a rematch with Vasily Lomachenko. I can't remember who the other fighter was, but whoever the third fighter. Yeah, go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, what initially that was from Devin. Devin mentioned that because you mentioned that.
It was Teo, right? Yeah, it was Teo.
The winner are Teo and Taylor. But
we know it's Teo now. So and then the third person was never Shakur. Yeah.
But what's funny, Greg? I found interesting that tweet that he did there. He's like, "Oh, your name wasn't even mentioned." LOL. I'm like, then Devin, you should mention it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I feel like he should mention it because that should be a fight that he should want as well because Shakur is one of his peers.
Okay.
Shakur is one of the better fighters at 135. I
agree.
So I would mention this. I mean, I wouldn't throw a stab. I mean, I know he's throwing that stab saying that Bob's not looking out for him in that sense, not in that sense to have him fight Devin. But if I'm Devin, I'm like, hey, these are the people who I want to fight. That's on your banner.
Mm-hmm. Devin's not fighting. And I don't know what the chat believes, but Devin's not fighting Shakur Stevenson next. I mean, you can tell the way that he's phrased every time they mention Shakur Stevenson, the way that he phrases his response. It's evident to me that he has no interest in fighting anybody else at lightweight. And I don't think this is just Devin. I mean, I don't think this is just Shakur. I think this is anybody outside of the name Gervonta Davis. I believe that. Because I think Tank brings the big money, and he would be willing to stay at 135 pounds to face Tank. I think outside of Tank Davis, I don't think he wants to stay at 135 pounds. I think he's going to move up to 140. Now, would he be interested in taking on a Teofimo Lopez? And we can transition to Teo after this. I don't know if he would be willing to step right into that fight. In theory, with Teo being the WBO junior welterweight champion, he would be able to petition for an immediate fight against Teofimo Lopez if he is deemed a super champion at 135 pounds, which I would expect that he is, considering he's undisputed. So he could force that fight if he truly wanted to do so. But we'll see what's next. I think whatever it is that's next, it's either Tank Davis or it's him at 140 pounds. My opinion.
I think you're right. I think you're right as far as Tank, because that's the money fight. And in past interviews, Devin has said that he looks probably at fighting Shakur at 140.
Mm-hmm.
He looks at that. And he's already complained about, not being able to make the weight at 135. And plus, I mean, Shakur is high risk, low reward.
Facts.
Tank gives you everything. High risk, high reward. So you're gonna win either way. Well,
that's not everything. So, I mean, actually, everything is low risk, high reward. So that's the Canelo Alvarez blueprint.
Oh yeah. Yo boy.
Yeah, everybody my boy. Everybody my boy, according to you. All right, man. Do you want to go ahead and transition to Teofimo Lopez? And I think there's a couple of topics that I do want to cover relative to Teofimo Lopez, and that is number one, Max Kellerman saying that he's already had a Hall of Fame career. That's number one, and I guess that ties into the fact that he's saying that he's retired. He's already let it be known to the WBO that he plans to relinquish the belt because he plans to retire. Jay, we did a video earlier in the week in regards to this. I had a theory in regards to this. I thought that this was more so about the custody battle, making sure that the courts understood that he would have a whole lot of time available to take care of his child. He wouldn't be in camps for 8, 12 weeks, whatever the case may be. I thought that's what he was trying to position himself for. You thought it was more so about getting out of his contract. I mean, I don't know. It could be a number of different reasons why he's saying this. But we haven't had the chance to really talk about what Max Kellerman said. So
real quick, Greg.
Yeah.
About the about my theory about it being so he can get out this contract on the Spaces this morning with the Lefty and Jake show.
Yep.
This morning, Jake was talking about that. Teo's looking at trying to be under his own promotion, take over promotions. So that's making me think more. So now it's like, I wonder if it's something in the contract where he can get out, but it makes more sense from just being a father to me with your thoughts, that's what I would think of, but from a business move, I see it as him getting out of contract via on his own promotions.
Yeah. And this is a great opportunity to pause and plug the show, the Jake and Lefty show, every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you want to see it on YouTube, go to the channel Chicken Talk. Great content there. Love. We're there every Saturday as well. So you guys should go check that out. Yeah, so maybe that does make sense. Jay, I don't know. Maybe it's multiple things that he's trying to do. I have no idea, but I don't understand, honestly, when I just think through it, why this approach would actually get him out of a contract or out of his promotional agreement. So that's the part that I'm having trouble with, in terms of like triangulating it to retirement and so forth and so on. But I want to talk about Max Kellerman and his comments. Max Kellerman used to be a guy that I had a whole lot of respect for. I didn't always agree with his takes, but I did have a lot of respect for him. I thought he had number one, I think he puts together his arguments well. I like the fact that when new information is introduced to Max Kellerman, he takes that information and he modifies his opinion. I think that's what all people should do, right? If you have a new set of circumstances, new information, I just give you an example. If all of a sudden new information had flowed to us that the reason why the fight was delayed between Errol Spence and Terence Crawford was something that Errol Spence did or said, then of course I'm going to modify my opinion on the fact that I believe Terence Crawford is the person that delayed the fight, right? I'm just using that as an example. So I like that he does that. I really do. But here lately, since he's been on ESPN and covering boxing and had Max on boxing, his takes are, they're horrible. He's talking about Teofimo Lopez has had a Hall of Fame career today as we speak at 25 years old because he was, quote unquote, undisputed at 135 pounds, and now he's the lineal champion at 140. So let's bring up a couple of names, Jay, because I think these names are important. Do you remember a guy by the name of Meldrick Taylor?
Yes, sir.
Meldrick Taylor was a champion at 2 weight classes, 140 and 147, if I'm not mistaken. It was 135 and 140. I can't remember exactly, but he was a two weight class champion, not in the Hall of Fame. You remember a gentleman by the name of Michael Nunn?
Definitely.
2 weight class champion, and based off of what I could find, not in the Hall of Fame. You know a gentleman by the name of Zab Judah?
Who?
Zab Judah.
Zab?
Yeah, Zab Judah.
I think I've heard of him. I may have heard of him.
Zab Judah, multiple weight class champion. If I'm not mistaken, he was undisputed at, was it 147? He was undisputed at for a little bit. Who else? You heard about a gentleman, he's from my neck of the woods, and sometimes he claims that he's from your neck of the woods, but really he's from my neck of the woods. Antonio Tarver?
Magic Man. Yep.
Do you know Antonio Tarver is a multi-division champion, not in the Hall of Fame? How is it that Teofimo Lopez is in the Hall of Fame right now at 25 years old based off of what he's done so far, just because he's a 2-division champion and he's not undisputed? He's never been undisputed. I don't understand it, Jay. Does it, chat? If you guys think that that's accurate, I mean, let me know. But for me, I can't understand the rationale why you would believe that Teofimo Lopez is going to be in the Hall of Fame. He beat Lomachenko, who I believe was overly hyped. And he beat Josh Taylor, who, yeah, that made him the lineal champion. But quite honestly, Josh didn't look good in his last fight either. Now, I give Teofimo a lot of credit. He won that fight in the story. But when you start to elevate fighters to these next levels, then what ends up happening is people start to nitpick, because now you're elevating them to a level that, a lot of people are not going to feel that they're at. So, but then when you start to nitpick their resume, then they start to say, oh, well, you know what? You're a hater. So Rafa Casanova, tell me what I'm inaccurate about. I'm curious to know, because I might be.
2-weight division champion too?
Paulie, I believe so, because Paulie won a title at 140 and 147, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, by Max's logic and T.O.'s logic, just everyone should be in the same Hall of Fame. Everyone
you win titles at multiple weight classes, you automatically a Hall of Famer.
I mean, I'm not saying that's not hard to do, but come on, man. Context matters. We got to look at, T.O. had, 19 fights?
I don't remember his record.
Yeah, I think he's 19 fights, 13 knockouts, 1 loss, if I'm not mistaken. I'm like, it's just laughable, and it's
so.
T.O.,
Jay Shooter, real quick to address Jay Shooter. Jay Shooter says Tarver dropped dirt. I think he mean pop dirty. So that, if I'm not mistaken, I know for a fact Roy Jones did, and I'm almost certain Evander Holyfield did as well. Both in the Hall of Fame, if I'm not mistaken. And I want to say, correct me if I'm wrong, Jay. Look, I want to say James Toney actually popped dirty once too. All 3 in the Hall of Fame. I mean, am I wrong? So I don't think that's something that would keep you out of the Hall of Fame. I think all three of those gentlemen at some point had a dirty test. Pretty sure.
But bottom line, the dirty test or not, Tszyu could be clean as a whistle. He ain't Hall of Fame.
Not right now.
Not right now. He has more work to do.
Absolutely.
He has more work to do. Not saying he can't do the work, but he just not right now.
Yeah, Max Kellerman, man. I don't know, dude.
I don't know if you watched the clip of the interview that he did with the full clip with him and Tszyu yesterday on Max on Boxing, but
I did not.
Max just doubled down. Max called him an undisputed champion. Two times.
2 times undisputed champion, knowing damn well he's not an undisputed champion. So this is what Max Kellerman is doing. This is what Max Kellerman is doing. This is what Max said. Max said he's like, well, he didn't. Josh Taylor didn't lose. He didn't retire. So no one beat him for him not to be undisputed anymore. So there's other fighters that can make that same claim. There's other fighters so whatever fighter that was undisputed and then lose in the ring and decided that they were going to relinquish a belt. I can't think of anything right now, but I bet you if I sat down for a minute, I'd be able to think of someone. So whoever beat them next, they were undisputed? What are you talking about? It just makes no sense whatsoever, dog. And that's where I have an issue. But let me tell you what Max Kellerman is doing, Jay. He's doing what ESPN was doing relative to Lomachenko.
Yep.
ESPN, he's basically being a promoter. There is absolutely no reason, because he's on ESPN and fighting for ESPN. Now they're using these different monikers. Because you remember at one point, didn't they say something like either Lomachenko was undisputed or he was undefeated, one of them? Like they literally erased they took his loss away. And now this guy was undisputed, knowing doggone well he wasn't undisputed. And he's not technically undisputed because he beat Josh Taylor. That's like if a fighter became undisputed for I don't know.
It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
You know what? Along with the way the ESPN pushed some fighters, I think that's why I was surprised and I had an issue with Bud re-signing with them, because they still didn't push Bud the way they should have when they kept putting Loma as a top pound for pound. When Bud had done everything so much more than Loma, and still has a better resume by far compared to Loma, and that's why I was surprised. Like, Bud, why are you going back to them? They don't respect you, dude. They don't respect you like they should. Because if you're on my banner and I have another dude that's on it that's good, and you've actually become undisputed, I'm putting you up there. You know what I'm saying? But they kept pushing Loma. Like Loma was the best thing ever. And I'm like, you got Bud on your banner.
Mm-hmm.
That's another reason why I had a problem with Loma, as well, being the way ESPN pushed him up there over everyone else. And it confuses me with Tszyu talking about they're all for the black fighters. I'm like, you saw the way they treated Bud? I don't understand that. You know what I'm saying? Just because now they have an influx of young fighters and they're pushing Shakur, they're still not really pushing Shakur to that tough like that. Tszyu just, I don't know, the whole ESPN and Tszyu is just, it's a headache to me, man. It's a headache.
It is, and I'm over it. I'm so over it. Tszyu, if he's retiring, please go ahead and do so, because I'm so tired of hearing him talk about how great he is at 25 years old because he beat Lomachenko, who is really kind of small for even 135. Just stop.
Yeah.
All right, Jay. I want to pause.
You saw they kept Loma from Bud back in the day too.
They were never close. Bud. Yeah, but they were never close to each other. They were never close enough.
They only one weight class apart at one point.
Were you talking about when?
I think at 130, 135. If I'm not mistaken.
No, I don't remember that. But anyway,
yeah.
they come on, man. All right, man. I want to pause here. We got 149 people in the building, 55 likes. If you get the opportunity, please hit that like button. It helps other people find this content. And also, if you're new to the channel, this is the Angry Man Podcast, AM Sports Media. Jason and I are always dropping content on a regular basis. Video clips, live streams, documentaries, fight breakdowns. We do a little bit of everything. Check us out, become a part of the family, and subscribe. All right, Jay. I want to call out just a few other things though. We got T-Word of the Mic Check podcast in the building. That's like a sister channel to us. If you get the opportunity, please go check out his channel and his content. T, drop your link in the chat. We also mess with Manager Marty. That's our guy. The Real Marlowe TV, the Boxing Source, definitely Chicken Talk. That's our guy. And Showboating. We mess with all those guys, man. So go check out their content. Really good content, really good boxing content from those gentlemen. All right, man. Don Jenkins, salute. Also, last thing, man, you guys, if consider becoming members. We just had someone that joined us here recently. Jay, I want to give them a shout out too, man, while I'm here thinking about this. I'm sorry, man. I got to give this person a shout out because they just became a member this week. And this was actually, Jay, the first time I had seen them. So I don't know if they had been, just kind of checking us out for a while, but Barbara D, I want to give Barbara D some love. She joined and became a member. This was yesterday. So appreciate you, Barbara, if you are watching the show. All right, Jay. What's the next topic, bro?
Hey, let's go ahead and rip that Band-Aid off.
Yeah, man, let's do it.
There's a couple things going on this week, rather. I think there was on Wednesday and Thursday, LA and New York. It was
yes, sir.
Pressers. Who y'all got winning the pressers with EJ and Spence? That is the question.
Hey, and salute, Dalia. Salute. How are you? Winning the presser. What does that mean? What does it mean to win the presser? I think you need to define that.
So, who seemed the most comfortable? Who put out the better zingers? Who seemed like they were most comfortable at those pressers with no problem?
Yeah,
less problem than the other.
So let me get my thoughts on this. So a lot of people, it's so interesting, man. Like when you are a fan of someone, you literally I don't know. Sometimes people they can't see the forest for the trees, or they just can't use rational opinions, logic, whatever. They just struggle. When you look at Terence Crawford, that first press conference, he looked shaky. He looked nervous. His voice was kind of fidgety. It was clear to me that he had never been at an event like that. It was absolutely clear. I'm not saying necessarily that it's going to affect his performance, but maybe it will. I don't know. But clearly he hadn't been on that stage. Now, people want to say that Errol Spence also hasn't been on that stage. I agree. This fight is the biggest fight in each one of these gentlemen's career. But Errol Spence is, let me say it like this. Errol has had events, Cowboy Stadium against Mikey Garcia, that were big events that you saw, mainstream in attendance relative to Dallas and the Dallas Cowboys and stuff of that, or things of that nature. So he's interacted in these environments a little bit more. You know what I mean? And at this time, Showtime, PBC, their fights are the biggest spectacle in the sport currently. So Errol is a little bit more used to this type of environment versus Terence Crawford, where he had just come off of basically a fight that looked like it could have been done in a bar room or something, right? With him and David Avanesian. So, yeah, I mean, Errol's going to feel more comfortable, and that's okay. I thought he did well in the second press conference. I thought he did pretty well in the second press conference. I thought he was a little bit more relaxed. I think he came with his homework this time, because when Errol hit him with the "who have you fought," I think that caught him off guard when he said, you got the best matchmaker, because he was talking about guys, and this guy fought this guy and this guy. So he had done his homework to try to counter that. And he was talking about the frying of the fish. I thought that was good. Fish fry. I think that's a good zinger.
Yeah.
With the potatoes on the side. I thought all that was good. Spence had a nice zinger there, but really that was his dad's zinger, where his dad came back and said, "I'm from Jamaica. I smoke bud," And I thought that was a good return fire. Yeah, he said it afterwards. He actually heard his dad say it. And then Spence grabbed and said, yeah, we from Jamaica. We smoke bud. So overall, I thought if I had to give it to anyone, I would give it to Spence. I felt like Spence edged it out. for both of them. I think definitely the one in LA for sure. The one in New York, I thought he edged that one out too. Some people feel like these guys are too respectful of each other. I don't know if they need to disrespect each other, but I do feel like all the banter that we've heard over the last 4 or 5 years, I think it's critical to bring all that stuff back up. And Spence tried to by saying you got the best matchmakers, right? I would have loved to have seen Bud talk about other side of the street, the easy route, whatever other narratives that they've built for Terence Crawford. Man, bring all that stuff back up, because at the end of the day, you are going to inflame your fan base, right? It's almost like being a Republican or a Democrat, and you're speaking to your base,
Galvanize
bro.
the base.
Yeah, you're galvanizing the base, right? And then that will matriculate out to the general public in my mind, right? Plus, when you see two guys going back and forth, and you are someone who is a casual, and you see that these guys going back and forth, this guy's talking about this, and you ducked me and you did this and blah, 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 this, that, and the third. The drama of it is going to get people excited as well. So for me personally, I think Spence won, but that's just my opinion. Jay, I'm gonna pass it to you to get your opinion on that, right? But then I want to talk about something that I put on our community page yesterday, because this is the other thing that Terence Crawford fans killed me with. But go ahead, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I thought it was good to see both of them out of their shells. Bud definitely seemed a little nervous. Not saying that that's lacks confident per se, but Bud's never been on a stage of this magnitude in any shape, form.
Mm-hmm.
None.
Exactly.
Spence has had he's packed stadiums. The Mikey Garcia fight was a huge fight for him. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's not like Spence hasn't done, and then he was doing the initial pressers for the Pacquiao fight. So yep. he's had practice on this. Bud has not. So I think Bud may have come off a little nervous at first. I think neither one are really like shit talkers like that. So it kind of brings a lot of them out of them, and they're kind of both kind of awkward a little bit. I think Spence had the better zingers, of course, with some of the stuff he said. We smoke Bud. I know Dad said this first. How you gonna catch me? You're not gonna catch me with a little fishing pole. How you gonna do that over and over again? They ain't catch Moby Dick, So it was good to see both of them, kind of get out their shell. I might say, it was close. I might say 1-1, but if I had to say an edge, it might be slightly towards Spence, because Spence had the louder zingers than Bud did. But none of that's going to matter come July 29th. They're going to settle that in the ring. And I think they do better. It's almost like they do better zingers on their own, especially Bud. I think Bud sounds better when he's doing interviews just by himself. You know what I'm saying? I prefer he'll do it in front of Spence's face and vice versa, but he just seems better that way. Just seems more comfortable, more relaxed in that way.
I don't think he's relaxed in any of those environments, to be quite honest with you, not from what I've seen. But that's just my opinion. Here's one thing I want to
real quick. I just want to address something in the chat. So Mailman Mac, but why Errol turned down the bet? He said he turned down the side bet with Bud because Bud's
they both said they weren't taking. They both said they weren't taking the bet. They both said that they weren't taking the bet in both interviews.
I know, but Spence said he definitely wasn't doing it because he made the concessions to get this fight. So Bud's getting the money in the fight.
Yeah, and he also said, and Bud was like, "Nah, we ain't doing the bet." They both said it, so like that's a waste of time to me.
Yeah.
Anyway,
go ahead.
I want to talk about this, Jay. You and I, we've seen this just on our platform in the past. I struggle. Errol didn't take the bet because Crawford already made extra millions. Yeah, great point. The same point you were making, Jay.
Yeah.
We see this all the time, Jay, when we do videos. And I know sometimes when you do a video, just for the record, guys, the way that we do our videos, they're all off the top of the dome, right? We don't script any of our videos. We literally pick topics. Jason and I don't discuss our viewpoint on it because we want it to be organic, and we just go, right? And we record, and it's going to be what it's going to be. And so sometimes when you do it in that fashion, I think it's possible that maybe your message isn't relayed correctly. So I think you've been guilty of that in the past. I've been guilty of that in the past. I mean, it happens, right? But then there's other occasions, Jay, where it's like literally people pull stuff that's just not even there, right? So I've been talking about the size difference, the reach, and I've been saying that size is going to play a factor in this fight, but not the way people think, because people think that when you say size, automatically we're saying that Errol Spence has a size advantage, and that's the reason why he's going to beat Terence Crawford. But I'm looking at it through the lens of Terence Crawford doesn't have a size advantage, which he normally does, and he won't have a reach advantage. And so when you look at their reach, and I observed both fighters as they stood next to each other, because I was specifically looking for that, I noticed that their reach looks the same to me. I had people coming in there talking about, height don't necessarily mean reach. You could be taller with less reach. And I went back to the video because I'm like, I don't recall saying that. And I didn't. I never said that. So I don't even know where they got that from. So I saw other people saying that's ridiculous. You're sitting up there trying to dispute the measurements of the fighters and all this other stuff. What you're saying is ridiculous. So I posted. You could literally see in the Sean Porter fight, Yordenis Ugas was measured at 5'9" with a 69-inch reach. And so we thought he was shorter than Errol Spence because Errol Spence has always been listed at 5'9.5". When they got to the press conference, it was very clear that Yordenis Ugas was taller than Errol Spence. It was clear as day.
Yeah.
So when they had the fight between Ugas and Spence, and I'm not saying that these numbers are correct, but they had Ugas at 1.77 meters, which equates to a little over 5'8". They had Errol Spence at 1.75 meters, which equates to a little bit over 5'7". They had Yordenis Ugas with a 74-inch reach. I'm like, damn, did his arms get longer? The stats are not always right. So just because you've seen a stat that says Terence Crawford has a 74-inch reach and that he has a greater reach than Errol Spence doesn't make it true. And that's the reason why I was looking at these two guys. Terrence hands were a little bit lower than Errol's, but Errol's shoulders were a little bit higher than Terrence. I'm like, these guys got about the same reach. And so I believe that that's going to play a factor in the fight. And I'm going to say it over and over and over and over. I think that will play a factor in this fight. I wanted to point that out, Jay. I don't know if you want to say anything or speak to that, but I did want to point that out.
Nah, I just let you handle that one since they were trying to say stuff.
It just annoys me, man. And somebody was on there saying, Greg, you should, and we'll talk about this topic, but Greg, you should start putting clips of what people say in the comment section so they can't come in and say you guys are making stuff up. I'm like, yo, we did a video with Terence Crawford where he literally was on the Boxing Voice and said that Jaron Ennis was on the other side of the street. Then I clipped the video from $1 million worth of game where he said he never said anything like that. And they still went in there and argued it that I was making stuff up. I'm like, this is incredible.
It's astonishing to me, man. It's crazy. They get mad. Some people get mad when you use their favorite fighter's own words against them.
They get pissed. Greg, what do you think of Bud throwing with Spence? I don't know what you mean when you said Bud throwing with Spence.
Earlier, Don was talking about if they go into a fight when they're fighting. What do you think would happen with Bud throwing at the same time with Spence?
I mean, Bud has faster hands, so I think Spence has to be more calculating than Crawford does. But I will say this: Errol is more defensively responsible, so Errol's probably throwing in a way to minimize the opportunity to get hit. Terrence sometimes throws his chin be all up and everything. So I mean, it's hard to say. If I'm Errol, man, I try to put Terence Crawford in uncomfortable situations where he doesn't have an opportunity to really throw. That's what I'm trying to do. And so a lot of people like to talk about Bud lifting weights and all that stuff. Jay, you've been around for a long time. I know guys, man, who couldn't bench press 185, and I could throw up 185 like it was nothing. And you try to wrestle with them or move them around, and they were strong as oxes. Or an ox. I don't know if ox is a word. Anyway, an ox. And then you have other individuals, man, who can lift a ton of weight, man, and they don't have any functional strength. So, we'll see what ends up happening in regards to that, Jay. Anything else you want to cover on that? I do kind of want to switch to.
That kind of leads us into what you want to switch to?
I think we're going in the same direction. Where were you about to go?
G. Russell?
No. I was going because we're still talking about the press conference. I was actually thinking about Blue Blood Sports TV.
Oh yeah. Let's go ahead. Let's go to that one. Let's go ahead.
Yeah, let's go ahead and speak to that one. So Blue Blood made an attempt to ask Errol Spence a question, and Errol said, "I want to ask you, why did you switch? What's that entity you were with? What is it?" And he was like, "Oh, BOK Prime." And he was like, "Yeah, what's going on with them?" They ain't popping right now. And then Errol moved on to another question. Now he did eventually turn back to Blue Blood and answer his question. Here's what people do not understand relative to those types of events. And I'll say it again. When you're at those events, and shout out to YSM, because this is what I learned from him. When you are at those events, what ends up happening is when they come off that stage, they go into an area where there's a group of the media, right? And each one of those media members can surround them and then ask them as many questions as they want. If you are able to get your questions off, those fighters have a responsibility to answer your question. They have to answer every question that is posed to them. It's a part of their contract. So Errol had to answer his question. Now, after that, they go off into another area where there are select media members that they will speak to. I don't know who, it depends on who it is. I guess they're comfortable with, where they'll get a one-on-one with them. Did you see Blue Blood in a one-on-one with Errol? No. And he probably would never get a one-on-one with Errol because of what ended up happening. So the fact remains, Errol called Blue Blood out. I don't have anything against Blue Blood Sports TV. I just thought it was interesting that he called him out. And it's always interesting too, because you'll see people come into the comment section and they'll say, Blue is your father. You guys aspire to be what Blue Blood is.
Oh my God.
You guys wish you were Blue Blood Sports TV. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of things that Blue Blood has, like Blue Blood has a ton of subscribers. And yeah, eventually we want to get there. But I don't know how to say this. I mean, I think Blue Blood does YouTube in full time, and we're not full time YouTubers. This is something that we enjoy a lot. But I don't know, man. We just got to stop coming to YouTube and throwing things out like, you don't know us, so you don't know what it is that we're aspired to. You have no idea, so stop coming into the comment section and saying that, because it's idiotic. And I used to get mad about stuff like that. But there's a gentleman in the comment section right now. His name is Jason Williams. He happened to thicken my skin. Jason Williams is one of the first people I remember on our channel, and he thickened my skin to a point where nothing bothers me anymore. I just simply laugh. So Jay, I just wanted to point that part out, man. Anything else you wanna say relative to Blue Blood Sports TV?
I mean, the one thing I will say is the only thing that we had a problem with Blue Blood was when he started talking about what people make. You live with roaches.
Yeah, he said all that.
You're not supporting BOK Prime. You're not supporting a black man and stuff like that. But that's what we had a problem with.
Facts.
If he has a different take on something else, that's his take. He has a successful YouTube channel. Salute to him. I'm learning a lot in this YouTube game where there's so many people out there. There's a lot of options for everyone to be successful. I'm not going to down him. That's not even my style. That's not even our game. That's not how we even think about it. So before anyone says, "Oh, y'all hating on him," nah. If he said something like that, that's disrespectful. Yeah, we'll talk about it. But for the most part, nah. That's fine. I found it funny, but also, Blue Blood ain't the first YouTuber to get caught up by Spence. Another YouTuber got caught by Spence by switching around like that some years back.
Mm-hmm.
So this ain't the first time. So I mean, Spence is savage with it. He sees everything. He don't forget nothing. Like Greg talked about on another video we did. I'm quite sure we had a chance. We were there. We're trying to get an interview with Bud. Bud might come across at us like that too.
Oh, he absolutely would. He absolutely would.
And
he cuts us out.
We'll be fine with it.
Dude, I'm at a point right now. I would 100% laugh if Terence Crawford cussed me out. I would find it actually entertaining, to be quite honest with you. I wouldn't be offended at all. I would find it extremely entertaining. Because for me personally, none of this stuff is personal for me. It's all boxing. You don't hear me talking about anything relative to Terence Crawford outside of boxing or Errol Spence or any other fighter. So it's nothing personal for me. This stuff isn't personal. I just enjoy talking about the sport, and I enjoy having the ability to bring people together to talk about the sport. That's really what the community of it. That's what I really enjoy and love about it. And that's the reason why we have a YouTube channel. It is what it is.
Yeah. And Jason, we not hating, and we ain't clout chasing, because we don't use blue blood to try to get anything.
Who said that?
Jason, he's like, if y'all not hating, y'all clout chasing, pick one. We're not doing either.
I think he might just be, maybe he's being funny, because his name looks familiar.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, because
if I read it wrong, my bad. I'll apologize. My bad, Jay Saunders, if I read it wrong.
Because I'll put this out there, because I heard people saying that too. You guys are at the point where you're at right now, which is almost 700-800 subscribers because of Blue Blood. Go check our videos and go see. Blue Blood may have been mentioned in maybe 3 videos of ours.
Maybe.
Our biggest videos have absolutely nothing to do with Blue Blood Sports TV at all. So stop with that craziness. It's just not true. Anyway, you got to get Errol some thick skin too. Terence Crawford's skin gonna be thick. The skin on his face gonna be thick after Errol Spence swell it up. All right, Jay, let's move to the next question, man, or the next comment. Hold up, before we go there, we got 209 people in the building. We got 96 likes. If you get the opportunity, please hit the like button or the dislike button if you don't like the content, but make sure that you are engaging. Also, this is AM Sports Media, the Angry Man Podcast. Jason and I are always dropping content, clips, live streams, documentaries, fight breakdowns, you name it, we do it. Come be a part of the family, subscribe. And also, for those of you who are subscribed, consider becoming a member. That is how we do those documentaries and those fight breakdowns, because of the people who contribute to the channel. And again, to all those who do, thank you. All right, Jay. What's the next topic we want to go to?
My name is Jason. So let's go ahead and talk about what Gary Russell said about how EJ going to be coming after Bud in the fight.
Yeah. Hold on. Yeah. So first of all, I don't know if you guys have seen that video that we did. It was about Gary Russell talking about Terence Crawford and Errol Spence. So I've been learning these graphics, these graphics packages now, man. So I've been working with those a little bit. So I feel pretty good about that thumbnail, guys. You guys tell me what you think. But anyway, so Gary Russell Jr., we know that he has had beef in the past with Terence Crawford relative to some, I don't know what it was. I don't know if they were at some kind of Junior Olympics, some kind of boxing event at some stage of their life, but they had some level of beef. So he always prefaces his comments when he's talking about Terence Crawford with, hey, I don't have anything against Terence Crawford at the end of the day. Those things that occurred between he and I, they happened years ago. We're now both grown men. This doesn't have anything to do with that. He mentioned that he believes that Terence Crawford is a better boxer, that he's more athletic. But he doesn't, sometimes there's lapses in his defensive responsibility. I've noticed that myself. And that Terence Crawford has to be in 15-round shape, because if he's not, what he believes is going to end up, and he believes that Terence could possibly get off to an early start, right, and get off to a lead, and then he'll be able to hold Errol off. Maybe if he has the endurance to go 12 rounds and constantly move, right? And Bomac kind of alluded to this a little bit too, Jay, in that interview that we saw, that he was talking about, we just trying to get him up there and get him in shape. So I don't know if that's a situation where they're going to try to, utilize a lot of movement. I have no idea. But what he says that he believes is going to happen, he picked Errol, is that he believes that round 7 or 8, he's going to start walking his ass down like Jason, dropping them dumbbells on his ass. and I think that was a fitting description of how Errol Spence actually operates, right? And you know what, those movies back in the 80s where you got these young teenagers running in the woods and Jason is right behind them and he seems to be so far away. And then, of course, they'd always fall for whatever reason. I don't know why they were always so damn clumsy, but they fall, get back up. They keep running. Jason still doesn't look like he's in sight. Next thing you know, he's right up on them and boom, lights out. So I thought that was a great way to describe it. I could see it happening, but a lot of people have pointed out that you know, Terence Crawford doesn't necessarily get off to a fast start. And so he probably won't be leading. And so I don't know, man. It's and that's what makes this fight so interesting, because I can see where Errol's being a little bit more hesitant because Terence is a fast counter puncher and Errol's figuring out what angles to use in order to get on the inside, and Terence get off to a lead and then Errol walks him down. I could also see Terence not getting out to a fast start and falling behind, and then Errol getting even more comfortable in the middle rounds and getting him up out of there. I can also see Terence coming in great shape and showing us more movement than maybe what we saw in the past and challenge Errol to be able to walk him down. I mean, I felt like Sean Porter used movement a lot, and I thought it worked out very well for him, the way that he used movement. But I struggle with believing that Terence Crawford will be able to use movement and still be very effective, because he fights different from like Porter. Porter, gets low and jumps in. He doesn't really get low and jump in, so he can move, but Errol's still going to be able to find him and tap him with that jab regardless. So I don't know how well that would work. But I can see Terence being super effective at counterpunching too, Jason, and Errol maybe not being able to figure it out. So many different ways this fight could play out. That's the reason why I feel like it's a 50-50 fight. But I thought that was interesting that Gary Russell Jr. felt like, there's an opportunity for him to really walk him down and really start putting some damage on him toward the middle to late rounds. What are your thoughts on that?
No, I mean, that's a great analogy. It's the way kind of like Spence does a lot of his other fights. Mm-hmm. Slow, methodical, just stalks you,
Yep.
And makes you succumb usually to punishment for the most part. I know Gary is also he says they squashed the beef with him and Bud, but that was just not a few months ago. He was just talking noise about Bud again,
Mm-hmm.
So he still has a beef. So I was surprised he actually gave Terence some credit in his style. I was surprised at that, that he did give that, but I still can't take too much other stuff that Gary says, because he is a hater of Bud. He does. He hates Bud. He hates Bud and he hates Tank. Those are two people he hates completely. So, I mean, but he was right in this analogy here. I agree 100% with him in this analogy. It's definitely a very close fight, 50-50 fight. 51-49 could be either way, whatever way you want to stand. But the funny thing I always get is people say you and I, we hate on Bud or anything like that, but we always give Bud the respect and saying that this is a close fight. And we show ways and talk about ways that Bud can actually win. A lot of Bud fans say it's no way Spence could win, when this is actual boxing. It takes one punch to change anything.
Facts.
So in a fight of this magnitude and how close they actually are, I'm okay with saying it's a 50-50 fight. I think Spence is going to win it, but I can see ways that Bud can win it as well. It's not a foregone conclusion. Either fighter just going to just cakewalk this. Now, could it happen? That could happen as well. I don't think it's going to happen, but I'm okay to say that. I don't see a lot of Bud fans. Jason Williams, Brenda.
Man, we'll see what happens for sure. We'll see what happens.
We'll see.
And
We'll see.
Dahlia,
Just for it's a great fight.
Dahlia, just for the record, I'm Jamaican as well. So, just for the record. All right.
Ain't never been to Jamaica in your life.
I haven't, but here's where I'm going to pause the show and say a big fuck you. A big fuck you. I'm going to drop that right there. Anyway, yeah, so Jay, anything else we want to cover on that particular topic? I don't know if we have anything else we want to cover. Right now we at
you
the
kind of
hour
talked
mark.
about your boy. You kind of talked about Big Mac.
Yeah, Bomac, go ahead and kick us off.
Yeah, Bomac talking about thinks this fight is going to be easy for Bud. Now all of a sudden, although he's been flip flopping all over the place about giving respect to Earl. Before that, he was talking to us about Earl. Now all of a sudden, on a side little interview, he talks like he's going to be an easy fight for Bud. I don't agree with that, but it could happen either way. He call you a Jafakin. He called you a Jafakin. Oh my gosh. Hey, that's why he don't know about plural ox is oxen. He don't eat oxtail. He don't eat jerk chicken, curry chicken. He don't eat none of that.
Man, my oxtail's so banging, bro. You don't know. You'll never understand how banging my oxtails are, bro. Stop it. Anywho, let me think. Yeah. So Bomac. Yeah. I mean, talking about that, and the way that he approached it too, Jay, was interesting because this was a platform that I would say is not widely known. And the way that he was talking, he was almost whispering. You know what I mean? Like he was saying it under his breath, like he didn't really want it out there. But of course, we being who we are, the Angry Man Podcast, we're going to take it and we're going to blast it to the masses because we want to make sure that Errol Spence gets the opportunity to see it so he can use that as fuel and motivation. So, but anyway, he was sitting there and he was saying it's going to be easier. You know, Bud going to beat the shit out of this dude. It's going to be easier than what people think, so forth and so on. We'll see. We'll see. My thing is this. If you feel that way, if you feel so strongly, then as a part of that press conference, say it. Say it to his face. We're going to beat the shit out of you. You know, that's what it's going to be. It's going to be, that's what it's going to be. We see it. You got an excellent jab. You're a good fighter, but we're going to beat the brakes off of you. And it is what it is. That not only adds drama because you know Errol's going to respond to it. So it adds drama, it adds fuel. People are going to get excited about it. It's going to create. To me, the reason why he doesn't say it is because I don't think deep down in his heart he believes it. I just think it's him talking. So Jay, I don't know. It's interesting that he's bringing that up without actually, standing in front of Errol, man. And again, man, it's almost like he was in some clandestine, location or something like that, man, where he was, kind of ducked off and, hey man, we're gonna whoop his ass, right? That's how he was talking. Like, we're gonna whoop his ass.
Oh man, you got that on tape.
And kind of ducking off to this. Like, what you doing? Like, man, be who you are. Be confident in it. Why oxtail costs so damn much these days? Yeah, I don't know why. They're expensive as hell. How you know how much oxtails cost? It ain't like you can cook them. Greg, when's the last time you had Johnny cake? I don't know what the hell Johnny cake is. What are you talking about? I don't know what maybe they call it something different where I'm from. I've never heard of it. So Jay, what's next, man? Do we want to go ahead and open up the phone lines?
Yeah, we can go ahead and open the lines up.
All right, man. Let me go ahead and open them up.
What was it up? Yeah, but talking about but Bomac was mad talking about they treating us like we the B side. I'm like, cause you are.
Yeah, facts.
You are the B side in this deal here. This ain't Sean Porter. You are the B side.
Yeah.
People, Joan Turner. So you saying basically acting like Spence can't beat Bud at all. Basically, what you're saying, Joan Turner. Like Bud is just so responsible with his defense, which he is not.
Yo, so let me get these phone lines up, man, because I know the people want to call in and discuss. So where am I? Well,
Bomac would be the trainer of the year.
For if what happens?
Oh man, talking about this after this massacre, Bomac would be trainer of the year. Oh my gosh. Just seeing sometimes when Bud goes to the corner, Bomac don't really be saying nothing. I see his hand in the bag of Cheetos sometimes.
Greg, stop acting like Al Heyman stipulates in contracts with him. No bad mouthing me. I'm not sure what you mean by that. All right, man, guys, the phone lines are open. The phone lines are open. So
Hey, so I
yeah,
mean, y'all
let's
don't
do
be mad
this.
if y'all see that cheesy towel thrown in the ring. Y'all know what happened. Y'all know what's up.
Man, you gotta stop hating on Bomac, man. All right, guys, phone lines open. So whoever's ready to call in, give us your thoughts, man. We are waiting for you. Yeah, Bomac is an interesting character, bro. Like I look at Bomac and I just say to myself, like he's a lot of people give him a lot of credit. They think he like some kind of genius. Let me ask you something. Who else does he have? He have Keyshawn Davis. He's relatively young right now, so he's unproven. He tried to take over Amir Khan, and Amir Khan got dusted. Who else did he have? Who was that Shakur Stevenson? He was training Shakur Stevenson, dusted him.
Recently?
Yeah, I can't think of his name. I see his face right now, and I'm losing his name.
I know who it was. I know it wasn't Conseil or whatever the cat's name is. That's who I'm thinking about. I keep thinking about him. I know it wasn't him.
Somebody, Jamel Harrison. Yeah, yep, Harrison.
Jamel Herring.
Herring. Yeah, Herring.
Yeah.
Herring, that's his name. Mm-hmm. Yeah, dusted him. The fighter that he got that is the fighter that he has that's an excellent fighter is Terence Crawford. He has no other fighters that are excellent fighters unless you count Keyshawn. And Keyshawn is improving. So
man, they clowned in the chat, Greg.
What's that?
Jay Sanders. Jay Sanders said, I heard Bomac would get naked for nachos. God dang it, man.
Wouldn't surprise me. But yeah, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought.
Right. Yeah, Eric Johnson said Bomac had Mo Hooker.
Gotcha.
Mo got beat down by Blair Cobb.
Yeah, he's not an excellent trainer, man. I know who this is. I think I know who this is. You are on the Angry Man podcast with Jason and Greg, and if this isn't tunnel vision, I'd be surprised.
Hey, what's going on? It's Tunnel.
What's going on with you, bro?
What's happening, Tunnel?
Nah, not too much, man. Yeah, like I think y'all being a little hard on Bomac. You know what I'm saying? When y'all said that he was talking on that thing and he was whispering, maybe he wasn't trying to whisper. Maybe he wasn't trying to be, keep it on the low. Maybe he was just out of breath. You know what I'm saying? It's a long day, and he could just need a little bit of time. He can't just keep speaking out, and pushing that breath out on a regular basis. Those lungs need rest. So that could also be the issue. So get off of Bomac, because that ain't his fault. You know what I mean? And as far as like him becoming like I don't know, the whole train of the year thing. I mean, I'm with y'all with that, just due to the fact that he doesn't really give him a lot of instructions like that. Like even like I said last week when they were talking about, hey, what are you gonna do? And you see how Derek James was able to articulate, everything. And Bomac is just, he couldn't, I'm going to go in there. We're just going to whip his ass. Like, he couldn't really say anything. And isn't that, what's his name also? Didn't Bomac also train, what's his name? He fought against Ramirez on a unification at 140 pounds. I forget his name. I think it was the same. I don't know if it was the same day that it wasn't with the Errol Spence thing. I forget what his name is. He's also from Texas, but he used to train also on the Bomac, and he got washed. He got washed by Ramirez.
Hold on,
I forget his name though. It was a unification bout. I think then after that bout, Ramirez ended up fighting Taylor for undisputed. But they actually sent Ramirez to the zone to unify. But I don't know. I don't remember the guy's name. I don't. And Errol Spence also knows him.
You talking about Hooker?
Maurice Hooker?
Yeah, Hooker. Yeah, Hooker. Isn't Hooker with them too?
Yeah, somebody in the chat said that.
Yeah. So that's another fight. So I mean, it's not like Bomac is really, in this big positions, like really, pushing his fighters through major wins or anything like that. So, we have to see, like, when Terence Crawford actually gets caught up into a tough situation, it kind of begs the question then, okay, if he gets caught up in tough situations, is Bomac really going to be able to help him in those spaces? Or is, since he likes to compare himself to Floyd Mayweather, is Terence Crawford like a Mayweather who can, figure those things out, the way that Terence Crawford has been doing. He's been figuring those things out by himself in that ring, from what I see, because all I ever see Bomac say is push it. You got to go at him. You got to go harder. I don't really ever hear any, specific instructions to Crawford in order for those fights, in order to help Terence Crawford in the fights that he's in. Unless y'all see something different.
I don't see anything different.
According to Jones, he doesn't need any help. But it's so great, he doesn't need any instructions from him.
So I'm gonna piggyback off something you just said, Tono, because I think that is the real key issue here. So like Jones just mentioned, he's so instinctively gifted that he doesn't need coaching instructions from. So then why, if he's so instinctively gifted, then why did he have to go to the corner and ask Bomac whether or not he was ahead or behind with Sean Porter? Shouldn't he have already known that? Stop acting like this guy is like Floyd Mayweather. He's not. He doesn't observe everything in the ring. He's not in tune with everything in the ring. And then this is the other thing too, exactly. And Floyd listened to his coach as well. But this is the other thing. He's never really been in a situation where it required him to get real instructions, because the fights have been so easy, because he's basically overmatched all of his opponents. He's either been bigger or faster or had longer arms or whatever. I think in this particular fight, he will be challenged in a way that he hasn't been challenged in the past. And so he's going to need to go over into the corner and say, he's going to need someone to say, hey man, what approach should I take now? Because I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't think that switch hitting shit, I don't think that's gonna work. All of a sudden they talking about something, you see, and Bud, man, and then you saw when Bud switched to left, because this is what Bomac would say. You saw he just switched, and he switched to a southpaw. He just started whooping his ass. I don't think that's gonna work against Errol. I don't. So after you get tagged in your face a couple of times in your normal or in your southpaw, your orthodox stance, and then you switch to southpaw, and it's not, you can't turn on the proverbial switch as they say you do, then what happens then? You need coaching. And I don't think he's going to get the proper coaching, my opinion.
Yeah, not from Bomac.
I don't think so.
I mean, even Floyd was getting coaching from Roger and Senior in the corners.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
So, I mean, to say that, Bud doesn't need anything, I'm like, well, if he doesn't need anything, maybe the competition hasn't been well.
That would be my guess.
You don't need much against David Avanesian.
Exactly. I mean, of course he's going to go out there and beat David Avanesian. That's a sparring match. So, Tony, you there?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and also another thing, man. I'm going to get y'all need to get off of Villa, man. I don't know why y'all being so hard on Villa with this, again, with this fight that he's about to have with Ennis. Yeah. I mean,
we're not hard on him. How are we hard on him?
Yeah, man. Y'all be like, like he's just nothing. Like, this. I
never said that.
Like, this is just a tailor-made fight for Ennis, and
he is.
Nobody wants to see this. No, but like, my thing is this though. Out of those four, who has the best win out of those four? Out of Ortiz, out of Ennis, out of Stanionis, and out of Villa. Out of those four, who has the best win out of those four?
Either Villa or Ortiz.
Well, Ortiz ducked Ennis though.
Yeah, but he beat Mean Machine. You talking about best wins? I think that's probably the best win out of all those four. Mm-hmm. He beat Mean Machine.
What would make Mean Machine the best win though? Because Mean Machine, he got a fight against Terence Crawford, but that fight was BS due to the fact that in his previous fight, people thought that he lost that fight. He got a draw in that fight, in a fight where they thought that the other dude actually got robbed.
Yeah, that's a fair point. But that's the reason why I'm saying that that's the best win, because he gave Terence Crawford a run for his money, and we got Terence Crawford rated so highly. That's the reason why it's the best win. But you could argue that point if you want to. That's fine, but that's the reason why.
No, yeah, well, I think the person who has the best win out of all four of them is Villa. I think the win against Ellis,
Speedy.
I think that's the best. Speedy Rashid Ellis. I think that's the best win out of all four of them. And even though, sometimes, people can look like they're tailor-made for somebody, and then when they get into that ring, it ends up being a whole different situation. Just due to the fact that dude, he's a big dude. He's like a really big dude. That's number one. And number two, he's very durable. And not only is he durable, he also has heavy hands. So then, so it's like it could be a situation where then Ennis gets kind of put into a situation where he might have to deal with things that he didn't, think that he would have to deal with. He might, if he gets touched and clipped by Villa, the way that that Ukrainian was hitting him, or Russian, whatever the hell that dude was, if he gets hit with some of those same shots, it's going to be different, And regardless, I think out of the people that were available, I think that was probably it's a next man up. Like that's like the number 2 guy in the slot. So I think that was the best win, because I think what they were trying to do, they were trying to set up that Ellis versus what's his name versus Ennis. I think they were trying to do an Ellis versus Ennis. But then obviously Ellis dropped the ball and he lost. So yeah. I personally actually think it's a good fight. I think it's a good fight, and it might be a situation where, just like the last time, where Ennis might, he'll come out, he's going to win, obviously, but it's a fight where certain flaws could be seen in this fight too. It could be a fight where he wins it, but you say, hey, he needs to work on this or he needs to work on that. I think it could be that type of situation. So I don't think it's just necessarily just this whatever fight, because I think you put Villa and you put him against Ortiz. Ortiz is a banger, but we've seen Ortiz on the floor before. So I think that's a fight that I think Villa could win that fight. Against Stanionis, I think that's a fight that Villa can win due to the fact of his durability, the fact that he keeps coming at you, and the fact that he does have so much, he does have heavy hands. I wouldn't put this as an easy win for any one of those guys. So I think it's just a fight where, you might be right, though. You might be right where, Ennis just runs through this dude. But at the same time, I think it might be a fight where you're like, oh, I didn't expect that. Yeah, Ennis won, but I think it's going to be one of those fights. Ennis won,
so let me
just like the last fight.
Let me explain my position on it, because I don't think he's just going to slice through the guy like warm butter in a hot knife. I just think his style is tailor-made for him, and it's more so in contrast with what we just saw him struggle with against Karan. So that's more so where I'm going from my position. But the guy's proven that he's durable against Speedy. But I just think that he's kind of he's tailor-made for him. So I think this fight, I think he'll pressure him well. I think he'll probably pressure him a little bit better than what we've seen in the past. But I think Duran's style, being able to move backwards and throw punches at the same time and get caught on the ropes and still get his shots off, I think it's going to pose a challenge for him, unlike what Speedy did. Because if he gets caught coming in against Ennis, he going night-night.
He going night-night, yeah.
That's true. It's very true. But we'll see. But I'm just saying, though, when that night comes, I'll watch, just because I think out of those two fights, I'm just telling you, I wouldn't be shocked if we start to see certain things that we're surprised by in that particular fight. And just one last thing, and I'm out of here. I wanted to see what you guys thought about the fact that how Usyk is signing up he signed up to that promotional company in what's that place called in Saudi Arabia. Mm-hmm. And then also they're looking as if Wilder might also be signing with them. Mm. And then Chicken Talk also put out some kind of information that Devin Haney also might be signing with them. And I just want to know what everybody kind of thought about that, just due to the fact that I always like to say all money isn't good money. Like we've seen with with certain other people who thought they were in a good position, but then things didn't turn out that way, and then the reputation got tarnished because of it, and now they're back in the same spots, and they might have lost financial gain long term. So when it comes to these guys, I'm kind of thinking like that particular promotional company, if you say anything at all that's connecting them to what's that company, to Canahan and his people, they sue you. So because there's a question over there is if they're connected to that particular group, because if they are, these are American fighters. Okay, maybe Usyk, but y'all are American fighters that are now doing deals with these people who might be connected to that entity, which could end up being a dicey situation. So I wanted to kind of see what you guys thought about that situation.
I don't know enough about him. I'm always leery of anyone that comes out of the blue and tries to get into the game. I would be, if they're signing for a 1 or 2 fight deal, that's one thing. If they're signing long-term contracts, that's another thing. Now, I know this entity, supposedly they're doing some other kind of promotion, but it's not in the realm of boxing, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know enough about them. If it were me and I'm a fighter, I'm not signing a long-term deal with these guys. I'll probably sign like a 1 or 2 fight deal if they can put the money up and do something like that. But long-term deals, absolutely not. I wouldn't. Jay, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with the whole setup. I know Devin supposes in that, but I also heard about Devin's dad is talking with Bob again. So I don't know where Devin's at as far as who he's going to sign with, where he's going to sign with, but I know Devin was over there for the Jake Paul fight. So I think that's when a lot of the rumors really started going. That's where a lot of discussions started happening. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And one last thing that I'm out. And I want to see what y'all think about, what's his name? Teofimo Lopez. Like,
oh, God.
How do you sit there, you talk all that shit, excuse my language, about all these fighters. You go to a PBC event, which is weird to me because he's upset with Top Rank because, they paid all their attention to the black fighters. But then you go into PBC, which is owned by a black, it's owned by a black dude, and all their main fighters are pretty much 90% of them are black. So that's where the focus is going to be on, like Charlo and Tank and Errol Spence, even what's it called, Ennis, all these other guys. That's where all the focus is on. You're going there and you're talking all this stuff about Gervonta Tank Davis. You're talking all this stuff about all these other fighters, and then you drop your belt and you, quote, retire. Even if you are taking care of your business with your family that we know, and he's trying to get out of that promotional company, but how do you talk all that ish, and then you just curl up and just go away? You know what I mean? It's like you're waiting until you're inside of the house. You're yelling, run, cursing at people. As soon as they get off the bus, you run into your house and you lock your door, and then you're in your window, just what I'm saying, just dancing in the window, knowing that they can't touch you.
Yeah,
so I don't know how y'all feel about that.
I don't think he's retiring, man. I think this is all talk. I think he's posturing. I think he's trying to use this as leverage to get something. I don't know what it is, but he's trying to use it as leverage to get something. I don't think he's retiring. He doesn't have a Hall of Fame career at 25, and he'll be incredibly shocked at the point in which, if he were to retire and he actually gets to a point where he'd be eligible to get into the Hall of Fame, he quickly discovered that he's not getting in the Hall of Fame. I don't think he's retiring.
Because to me, it's kind of it's also kind of funny how. If you have any kind of rumor of any fighter leaving PBC or having an issue with PBC, even if it happens not to be the case, like with Errol Spence when he got that that management company that, and all of a sudden he has an issue with he has a major issue with Al Heyman, and he needs all his contracts looked at and this and that. We hear all that real quick. While he decides to do a little something different, all of a sudden, he has a problem with PBC, even though he's still going to all the PBC events and chilling, in the front row.
Right.
But when it comes to Golden Boy and Ryan Garcia and Ryan trying to leave Golden Boy, no one has anything to say about that. When you see Teofimo Lopez, who is trying to maneuver himself out of Top Rank, no one has anything to say about that. I just find it kind of interesting.
It is. It certainly is. Anything else you want to share with the people?
No, that's it. Y'all have a good night.
All right, man. Catch up with you next time. Later. That was our guy, Tunnel Vision, in the building. I saw somebody else calling in. If you open, now call us back.
We talked about the Oscar Ryan drama.
No, we didn't.
Over that.
Hold on, Real J. I want to give some love to Odie Obara. Gave us a $5 cash out, man. Appreciate you, Odie. Much appreciated. Thank you. Yeah, that drama right there, man. We know that it was leading to that. We got the 513 calling in. 513. So I always get this person mixed up. So I ain't gonna try to guess who it is. You are on the Angry Man Podcast with Jason and Greg. Who we have in the building?
It's Big Dose 513, y'all.
Yeah, there we go. What's up, Big Dose?
Salute to my peoples, man. Salute to y'all, man. How y'all doing this fine Sunday?
Doing well, man. Doing well. How are you?
I guess y'all doing well since I ain't cussed Jason out yet.
I already cussed him out once. You missed
I
it.
missed it. I came a little late. Hey, I was gonna add one name to that name of fighters that Bomac done got whooped. Marcus Brown, remember? Yeah, light heavyweight Marcus Brown. He got him whooped on too.
Yeah.
Marcus Brown was with Bomac?
Yeah.
I did not realize that.
Damn.
Yeah, he got him whooped on too. But Bomac, man, I'm telling you, Bud is, despite what you say, Greg, Bud is a special talent, man. He's one of them type of fighters that don't really need coaching in the corner when he fights.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? He goes off and he works off instinct. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It just so happens he's coming up against another fighter that works off instinct, and he got a great coach in the corner.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's like a double dose against him, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? I think that this coaching will play a big part in this fight. It will. When you got one coach saying, hey, you're doing good, keep doing what you're doing, or, you know, get your rhythm, that's Bomac. And you got Derek James over here like, you know, duck down, hit him to the liver, come back up with a left hook. Or, man, throw your shots to his chest. You know what I'm saying? Because when he dug down, his head gonna be right there, which is something that old boy never told Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia kept throwing hooks to the head, missing, and when dudes should have told him, look, throw at his chest where his head is going to be at, not where it is. He never told him that. Goose had never told him that, not once. That's
hey,
why,
big dose,
you know,
big dose. So we got some corrections going on in the chat. Yeah, he was actually with Derek James, not Bomac, and I actually Googled it. He was with Derek James.
Was he?
Yeah, he's with Derek James. So
sure?
Derek James got his ass whooped for him. That's what
well, I'm sorry, Derek. You got his ass whooped. I'm sorry. Well, plenty of Bomac done got plenty of other boxes whooped. So
yeah.
I thought he was with Bomac, man. Didn't Bomac have a light heavyweight? I thought he did that he got whooped on.
Oh, no,
but
let
anyway,
me see if I can find him. Keep
facts
going.
is facts. Facts is facts. And I was wrong on that, and I can admit when I was wrong. But I'm right about this. Derek James is a way better coacher than Bomac is. All the way around. Just the fact that Bomac is not in any kind of shape to really work out with his fighter and train his fighter. Not for a long period of time. There's no way that you can be that big and stay up stamina-wise with your fighter, man. And Derek James realizes that. I need to be in shape so that I can stay up with my fighter. I'm sure that's why they probably got 3 coaches, you know, so they can do the things that Bomac can't do. But still, though, Bomac is the head coach. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I just look at it like that. I think that the culture will play a big part, as well as the skills and IQ, and all of that is going to go in together to equal out to Bud's defeat. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I think, you know, so as far as like the comment about me saying that he's not a special fighter, my thing is I don't know if he's a special fighter. You know, I think some of this is driven by the fact that he's had opposition, man, that allows instincts to kick in that, you know, like it's easier to be to use your instincts when the other fighter doesn't have anything to really give you a real challenge, if you get what I'm saying. Like your instincts could get your ass whooped if you relying on your instincts and not your fundamentals with somebody that can actually exploit when you rely on your instincts and you're truly actually doing something that's fundamentally incorrect, if that makes sense. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. Sure. And I do see Bud making a lot of mistakes in there, man. That Spence is going to be able to capitalize on, man. I'm telling you. Bud, when he gets hit, all the game planning goes out the window, and he won his lick back. That even came out his own mouth.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And he's going to get hit. Let's see what he's going to do after he get hit. Yeah, that's my call, though.
All right, man. Appreciate you for calling in, Big Dose.
Peace out, dog.
All right, later.
All right.
All right, man. We had somebody calling in, but I missed them. So yeah, man. But go ahead.
Jones said, "Why did Errol avoid power punching southpaws on his resume?"
Man, just stop it.
Now Spence avoid. Oh man.
SMG Digital said Greg ain't making sense either. LOL. Okay. If you say so. You may disagree with it, but that typically makes sense. So let's see who we got calling in. We got the 478. 478 is in the building. I feel like this is a Georgia number. Who do we have in the building?
Hey, man. This Chef Rocco, man. I'm always sending you stuff on Twitter, man. Been that dude, man.
Oh, man. What's going on with you, bro?
Man, I finally hold on. I finally got a chance to get in here, man. Hey, I like everything y'all doing out there, man.
Appreciate you, bro. You in Georgia, huh?
Hey, we down here in Georgia, man. We supporting that big fish all the way, man. We ain't switching sides either, man. It's either one side or the other. Ain't no half and half. Ain't no 50-50 fight. Ain't no 50-50, man. Hey, look, I always send stuff to Angry Man or Sports Media, but I always try to get Jay, but he got a private page.
Jay, your page private, Jason?
It's private?
Yeah, I can't never say nothing, but we're going to get it in, though, man. But either way, man, I support y'all all the way. I'm always in the chat on the Chef Rocco. I'm always putting stuff, man. I like how y'all spit the facts, and y'all don't switch sides, man.
I appreciate that, man. Absolutely. Yeah, I definitely see your stuff all the time. And, yeah, I see all the stuff you send me on Twitter.
Hey, I just wanted to bring this up. Last time we did it, do y'all remember, I think when Floyd was getting ready, I think he might was getting ready to fight I think it was like Robert Guerrero. I don't know who was getting ready to fight, but I know Robert Garcia was his coach, and Floyd had to pick them gloves. Errol is not going to have no glove gate. He is not going to have him with no padding in them gloves either.
That was McDonald. Where that happened.
McDonald. Okay, when they were picking McDonald gloves, Errol is not going to have that where you can fold them gloves, or every last gloves don't fold up like that. If you really been out here hitting, they don't fold up like that. So we're not going to go for it, man. And, hey, man, we support Errol all the way, man. We like everything y'all doing, though, for sure.
Appreciate you, man. Appreciate your support, bro, for real. And all the stuff you send me on Twitter, man. Keep shooting it to me, man. I love it.
I update my
Twitter a little bit. Hey, every time I'm on, my wife said, "You ain't talking to them for real." I said, "Yeah, I am talking to them, and we ain't switching no sides. We staying on the same side, man. We all the way with Errol. By the third round, we'll know everything we need to know. Just like when he was fighting Ugas, man. He had his eye already swole by the third, fourth round, man.
Yeah, man, all the way, man. Errol Spence all the way. And now, at the end of the day, I look at it like this. I got Errol. I do believe I lean toward Errol. I was telling Jason the other day, I'm more so like 51, 51, 40, 49 or something like that, or maybe 52, 48 or something like that in favor of Errol. Now, it's boxing, so anything can happen, Shell. But if in the event somehow, some way, shape, or form, Terence Crawford is able to win this fight, the Angry Man podcast will be canceled the following next 2-3 weeks. We will have to
we're going to take it however it come, man. It's boxing, man, but you ain't got to worry about that, man. I'm going to tell you, man, even if you're going to get in the fight with anybody, you can look at the confidence level, man. Errol confident, he already know what it is, and he not going to play with him. And he had to give him extra money. When do a fighter need to get on the phone with another fighter to make a fight? Come on.
Exactly. Let me say something to Joan. And Joan says, name one southpaw with proven power that Errol fought. Joan, name one fighter that Terence Crawford fought that was taller than him, was also a southpaw, who had the fundamentals of Errol Spence, the power and the pressure. Name one fighter. Neither one of them have ever fought another fighter like the other one. You ain't saying anything. Go ahead.
Yeah, they not going, man. And then listen, his tune-up for Errol, a come forward fighter, was Avanesian. How?
Hey, they.
I'm just being honest. That's what they said. He wanted to tune up a come forward fighter like Avanesian.
Yeah, Avanesian was not a good fighter.
Come on, man. Like, that was just disrespectful. Anybody who support Bud, I'm going to be all the way honest. I've been supporting Errol, but if Errol would have took a fight like that, I wouldn't have supported that. But now, you need somebody who's gonna be coming forward to you and gonna be really throwing that stuff and throwing some fire, who's gonna get you in shape. He's not in the gym with nobody he can just run over. He wants somebody he can come in there that's gonna try to get Errol up out of there when he's sparring.
Yeah. No, I agree with that, man.
Yeah, man. Hey, I ain't gonna hold y'all up, man. I know y'all lines always hitting, man. I'm always keep sending you stuff on Twitter, man. I appreciate y'all for sure.
All right, man. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for calling.
Right. I get mine right today.
All right.
All right, later.
All right, y'all be safe, man. Y'all be safe. All right.
Yep.
Appreciate you.
So let me get in there real quick. We got 266 people in the building and 151 likes. If you get the opportunity, please hit the like button or the dislike button if you don't like the content, but make sure you are engaging. Also, this is AM Sports Media, the Angry Man Podcast. We're always dropping content on a daily basis. Make sure that you become a part of the family and subscribe. All right, man. Let's see what we got. We got a 300 and 647 caller. We're going to take 301 came first. 301, you on the Angry Man Podcast with Jason and Greg. Who do we have on the line? Hello? 301? 301 is not there. So we're going to take the 647. 647, you in the building with Jason and Greg, and I believe this is Patrick. Am I right?
You are right. I'm doing my part to keep the Angry Man Podcast international.
I appreciate you, man. Where are you located right now?
Canada.
Right now I'm in Toronto, Canada, for the time being.
That's where I thought.
Nice.
Yeah.
What's going on with you, bro?
Yeah. So I wanted to say something about Teofimo Lopez.
Mm-hmm.
And just to let people who haven't been through this kind of stuff know, when he says he's going to retire, he's talking about a divorce retirement. So it's just to keep things off the books while he's going through his divorce. That's all. He doesn't want to enter into any kind of long-term contracts or whatever because she's going to scrape a lot of that. So he has to do this. Anybody who's been through or know anybody who's been through a divorce understands when he says, I got to retire and she's taking all my money. We all know what it is. So I just wanted to kind of inform you guys that's what it is.
That makes a lot of sense. Well, that leads more towards what I was saying.
He can't take on a lot as far as contracts and stuff like that.
Gotcha. Makes sense. Okay.
Doesn't make sense. But what I will say about the 140-pound division is that Teo did make it a lot more exciting.
I totally agree.
I would like to see a bit more of these fighters kind of start fighting at 140 now, since Teo is near the top of the division. While he's probably going to have to take a bit of a hiatus, the rest of the fighters need to start getting it on. So one thing I will say, I think Rolly is actually good for the sport.
Absolutely. I've been saying the same. He's good for 140. Absolutely.
He's comedy.
He's good for the sport. The dude, if you watch most interviews, most interviews are just very boring. Rolly just says the wildest, most outlandish things, and it's actually pretty funny. So I think we need somebody with his personality as part of the sport. It kind of livens things up a little.
I totally agree with that. And then when you think about like 140 pounds right now, I think there's an opportunity for Ryan. Well, I don't know if Ryan's going to have that opportunity with him going through arbitration, because it sounds like that's where it's headed relative to Golden Boy Promotions. But he was in talks, or at least talking about fighting Rolly. You got Devin, who's considering moving up to 140 pounds, who could possibly, challenge whoever. Or if Teofimo truly gives up the WBO title, then, Devin can move up and fight for that title. You got Regis, who's fighting there tonight. You still got Josh Taylor. You got Catterall. Who else do we got there at 140 pounds, Jay?
At 140, Regis, Matias.
Yep, Matias.
Hold on. And one person y'all forgetting about.
And Barboza too.
Gary Antoine Walker. So Gary Antoine.
Yep.
So
yeah.
Yep.
He's still up there. Although his moves are pretty puzzling at this point.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with his career. It's pretty I can't figure it out. But he's also in the mix.
Yeah. He's there. I don't know if he's in the mix, and that's to your point, right? I don't know what's going on with his career.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I think if he starts fighting, he's in the mix because he's a pretty good fighter. He's pretty strong.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree. So he can mess things up in that division too. So actually 140 if things are done right and these guys start fighting each other, can be probably just as exciting, especially if Devin moves up, just as exciting, or even more exciting than the 135-pound division at this point.
I don't disagree.
Especially if Devin moves up, and that's what needs to happen. Those guys could really start making some money, but they're going to have to be active, right? They're going to have to definitely be active. And I'd like to see Rolly in the mix somewhere. I guess he's supposed to be fighting maybe Garcia next. Not sure, but
I don't see that.
Fight for him.
They were talking about it, but I don't see that happening with everything that's currently going on between Golden Boy and Ryan Garcia. I don't think it's going to happen next.
Oh yeah, that's right. Isn't there some kind of lawsuit or something now?
Yeah, my understanding is that Ryan Garcia basically sent over some terms or something to Golden Boy Promotions, basically saying that they were in violation of the contract and he wanted to terminate. And Golden Boy responded with basically filing a lawsuit to let him know that he has to fulfill his contract, which seems to be another few years. So we'll see how that all plays out. Maybe they'll end up coming to some resolution, but my guess is he'll be on the shelf until that gets resolved.
Yeah, so, now we got that going on. That could mess things up a little bit because he kind of needs to be in there. Just from a popularity standpoint, he needs to be in the mix.
Not only that, man,
it does make it more interesting.
He's one of the hotter names in the sport right now, just coming off that fight. So you want to take advantage of that immediately, and you don't want to sit on the shelf. So that's a bad idea on his part. Well, it's a bad idea on his part if this cannot be resolved quickly. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
He wants
Absolutely.
To
and wanting to get you guys' thoughts on the heavier weight classes, man. Like I'm a little disappointed. 160, 168, 175. I'm not even going up to heavyweight. I think heavyweight is a big disappointment. But I don't know what's going on with the heavier weight classes. There's nothing going on. There's no excitement. There's nothing.
So think about it. Who's the man? You just named 160, 168, and 175. Let's pause there. So you got Jamal Charlo, who's been out for almost a little over 2 years. So that's been a part of the hold up at that division, right? And you got fighters in and around there that want to fight him, but he's been a hold up at 160. You got Canelo Alvarez, who's at 168, that's holding up all those titles. And it seems like, just based off of the fact that they're going to allow him to fight Badou Jack, that he's going to be able to hold on to those titles in perpetuity without having to face anybody who's it's mandatory. It's mind-boggling to me. And then you got at 175, you got Bivol and Beterbiev, which it seems like they have some interest in fighting each other, but for whatever reason, it can't be made. Now, I'm hearing that, and Jay, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't David Benavidez not talking about fighting Morrell?
Yep, that's what will be happening. I want to say August.
So that's going to be one of the bigger, better fights in and around that weight class, right? I'm definitely interested in seeing how David fares against him and how Morrell fares against David Benavidez. That's one fight. Now they're talking about that, Badou Jack that fight may fall through and Maul might get the fight, right? So that'll be another fight that would then happen in and around that weight class. We'll start moving the weight class forward. And of course, we saw Maul talking to Boo Boo Andrade, hoping to get get a fight made between those guys. So there's a little bit of action happening around there, but not a whole lot to the point that you're making. But
not a whole lot. Listen, they're gonna have to pull kind of what Tank Davis did at 135. If Canelo's not going to fight anyone, they need to band together and say, look, let's all fight. Let's make the most money we can. Let's get maximum promotion and marketing on our fights, and let's do whatever, come up with some clever ways, and start making money and just fighting each other. If the belts aren't available, screw those belts.
Yeah. Hey, let me pause right here real quickly. Let me pause real quick. I want to say this to Mr. Sandman 1025. Thank you for the $9.99. Appreciate you, my brother. And he says Rolly can't beat an 85-year-old man, and he's good for 140 pounds. He's good for 140 pounds. Okay, better take Tony Weeks with him. Listen, Mr. Sandman, we're not talking about his skills in the ring. We're talking about his mouthpiece and his ability to bring attention around the sport. I do believe that Rolly is only temporary at 140 because eventually somebody's going to whoop his ass, and it's more than likely going to be in his next fight. So I agree from that aspect. I just say he's good for the sport in 140 because he's one of the better mouthpieces in that weight class. That's what I mean by that. I think that's probably what you mean too as well, right, Patrick?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's not a skill set. I don't think anybody's going Guga over his skill set or lack thereof.
Facts.
But I think we're talking about the way that he he can get out and say things, you know, and just kind of stir the pot a little bit. You know, we don't have them. You know, back in the day, you know, you had a few characters that would come out and just talk, and of course, the greatest one out of all was Muhammad Ali.
Facts.
Right. So, you know, we don't have those anymore. So we kind of got to take what we can get. And in 140-pound division, you know, Rolly is the best you can get right now. So I think he's important from that standpoint. But as far as the higher weight classes, guys, I'm disappointed, man. I really want to see that 160, 168, 175. You know, that kind of those weight classes really start doing something, man. I mean, the little guys are great, but I'm tired of watching the little guys fight, man. The bigger guys.
I completely understand, man. Completely understand. Completely.
But that's all I had, guys. That's all I had.
Man.
Great show. Right. Happy Father's Day. And I'll catch you guys again next week.
Appreciate you, bro. Thank you for calling in.
No problem.
All right, later. All right, man. That was Patrick out of Toronto, man. The Angry Man Podcast. We international, brother. Mexico. We at least what is it called? Transcontinental? Is that what it's called when it's like multiple countries? I think that's what you call it. Canada, United States, Mexico. We've touched all over North America. Yeah, Jay. That 140-pound division, there's a lot of opportunity there. There's a lot of opportunity, though, across all of the different divisions, man. The problem is these guys got to get in the ring and face each other. They would make, here's the deal, and this is just my opinion, they would make more money if they just got into the ring and fought each other, and that would elevate the entire sport, right? And then even with losses, you would make more money. But what people are doing is they're using the O as a marketing tool, and they're trying to hold on to it for as long as possible. So I think that's part of the challenge. But boxing still is in great shape if you look at a lot of the fights that are happening in 2023. I just think there's some other action that we can get in the sport and get it moving. Jay, did we have anything else on our agenda? I know we had
just that Ryan drama, Oscar and Ryan. But that's about it.
I'll let you speak to that, man. We'll see if anybody else wants to call in. But hey, you guys, man, get the likes up. Get the likes up. We got 258 in the building, 164 likes. If you haven't had the chance, please hit that like button, guys. Please hit that like button. It helps people find the channel, and it helps people find our content. Hit that like button for us.
Yeah. No, I've just been chatting with, the top bud people here, Joan Turner and Jason Williams, talking about, Spence got hurt against Lardy. That happened in 2013. And talking about his fights after that were tomato cans, according to Jason Williams. I'm like, if that's the case, what was Bud doing at 147? Who he was fighting at 147 then?
Yeah, Joan, I think I've seen Joan Turner before, but I think this is the first time I've seen her in a while. Huge Bud supporter.
Yeah, it's he.
Jason, only because the PBC has been trying to freeze out Bud. Stop it. Nobody's been trying to freeze out Bud. Stop it.
CJ.
No one is trying to freeze.
I hope for Father's Day you have to get on the grill and it's hot as hell outside and you sweating and you get bit by some bugs.
That's probably gonna happen to Jason. Jason Williams. What area are you? Jason Williams, are you in the Panhandle? I think you're in the Panhandle, right? Yeah. I'm just curious now, Jason Williams. Are you in the Panhandle? I want to know. Yeah, bro. So what else we got? Well, nobody's called in, Jay. So I mean, there you got somebody calling.
Fish frying nothing.
Oh yeah.
Tell me it's your boy Terence.
No, it's not my boy Terence, but it is my boy Adrian in the building.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
What's going on with you?
Hey, what's up, man? I just want to put a little thing in there. You guys are international. When you guys say Mexico, also include LA, baby, because it's like the second Mexico. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
Put that in there, baby. From the raza. Now, what I'm going to talk about, man, Canelo, whenever his name comes into question, man, I can't stand that fool. Now, is this true that so I heard that he might fight Bandu, Jack, whatever. But if that doesn't go through, I heard that Charlo is going to be in the back burner. Now that was pissing me off because you know what? Charlo hasn't fought in but 2 years, over 2 years. So by the time they fight, it'll be about 2.5, close to 3 years until Charlo's actually had a real fight. Is that what is that what kind of fighter that Canelo is, man? He just takes people when they're at their worst. Come on, man. When are people going to wake up and realize what Canelo really is, man? He's a duck, straight up duck, man. I mean, you can't be. I don't know. And these sanctioning committees, they let them get away with it, and I'm just pissed off, man. I mean, everybody should be pissed off with that, man, because
it's nuts.
I don't care what the hell. And one more thing. You know what, man? For all you Mexicanos out there like me, come on, man. What's up with that, man? Man, be real, man. Man, I don't care about race. I don't care about all that, man. I care about who's the best. Who's the best, man? My favorite fighter is Jerron Boots Ennis. He's going to prove out to be the best when all is said and done. Watch. But when it comes to Canelo, man, come on. What's up with that? Now, what can be done about all this shit? I mean, that he's doing right now. Is there anything anybody can do? I mean, regarding the sanctioning committees. I mean, can fighters actually open up their mouths and say something? Because even Benavidez, man, he's kind of even not saying much about it. I mean, what's going on, man?
I don't. It's
Adrian.
baffling to me. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, Adrian, that it pisses me off also with this whole. I mean, people are like, oh yeah, Charlo's good fight. I'm like, if Charlo had been active, that's one thing. But Charlo's been out for 2 years dealing with a back injury, dealing with his personal life. We don't know what type of Charlo we're gonna get right now. And Benavidez is right there in front of him, right there in front of Canelo. And Canelo's looking at Charlo and Badu Jack. That's who he's looking at right now. Seriously, man. That's why I'm tired of him, man. It's nothing against what Canelo can do in the ring. You know, then Canelo is like, well, he wants to fight Bivol, but Bivol don't want to fight him. No, Bivol wants to fight at 168 to take his straps. Right. You got to whip his ass at 175. So why would I do it again? I beat you convincingly, easily. Nothing else for me to prove. And we're not going to do it for the same contract. No, I got to win now. So I need some more leverage. So I'm with you, Adrian. I'm tired of Canelo. I wish he'd do like Teo, just vacate the belts and let all the fighters come to 160, 168, and 160 and 168 take over and start fighting for belts then.
You know, but what I also heard about that too is that even if he does fight against Bivol, okay, because you know Soliman, he's all up Canelo's butt. So what he said is that he's not going to sanction that fight. So even if Bivol did beat him, whatever, at 168, he's not going to get the WBC belt. Because of that Russian war, you know what's going on in Russia. You know, come on, that has nothing to do with Bivol, man. The guy's not over here starting any political wars, whatever. So, I mean, like the WBC does whatever they can, best with Suleiman to protect Canelo, straight up. And people got to open up their eyes and see it, you know, because it's just not right for boxing. It makes boxing a joke in certain ways, you know. And boxing fans like us, man, who take it seriously, this is a great sport. It just ruins it. It ruins it, man. And it makes it so that the gates aren't as big as what they could be, or maybe the pay-per-views aren't as much as they could be, because people think, hey, it's like the WWE, man. It's all rigged or whatever, you know. So it's just wrong right there, man. Just want to leave you guys with that point right there, man, and wish you both a happy Father's Day ahead of time. You know, I hope you guys enjoy your families and this and that, you know, and be thankful for your wives, man, because they put up with a lot of shit for you guys to do this show, man. Appreciate that. But
appreciate it, man.
Oh, you got it, man. Put a shout out to my dad out there in heaven. Love you, Dad. Happy Father's Day tomorrow, Dad. And my son, Jeremiah. Love you, too. You both have a great day, man. Appreciate your time, man. Thank you, bro.
Appreciate you, Adrian. Thank you for calling.
All right,
Happy Father's Day, bro.
All right.
Later.
Bye-bye.
I think, Jay, we're going to take one more call. I think it was the 813, and they're calling us back right now. We got the 813 in the building. You on the Angry Man podcast with Jason and Greg. What is your name?
Hell.
Well, I'm just gonna start out with my middle name. My name is Joel. Middle name is Joel. From Tampa, Florida.
Oh, that's where Jason is.
I'm sorry?
That's where Jason is. Jason is in Tampa.
Oh, okay, yeah. I just want to. It's my first time calling, actually. You know, a pretty interesting podcast. I just want to get my part out on the Errol Spence and Crawford. And lately, I've been really feeling like. And remember, I've been, waiting for this fight for years, just like everybody else. And I've been changing opinions all the time. At first, I was like, man, Spence might have the edge. But then I keep remembering, you got to put respect on Terence Crawford. He has way more fights than him. And his last fights have been by knockout, man. A lot of people let the fight go to distance in boxing lately, man. Terence Crawford doesn't do that, man.
Mm-hmm.
So people have to put some respect on Terence Crawford, because on both these press conferences, I've been feeling like every time they face each other, Errol Spence makes him feel like he's the B-side strictly, like you are B-side. And I don't think that's right. You know, Crawford's been in the sport for how long? I know Errol Spence has the belts and all that, but hey, when you do that to someone, you just stirring the pot up, man. You building something up inside of Crawford that when it's fight night and he explodes, you better be ready, because you've been talking like if, you know, you've been there longer than him, and really you haven't. You know, opponent and resumes are probably very, very comparable, but I'm seeing somebody finish the fight, and I'm seeing somebody who's going 12 rounds, man.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say. Great podcast. I'll keep listening. Have a good day, guys.
Appreciate you for calling in, man. Thank you. All right. So he wants us to put a little respect on Terence Crawford's name. I mean, here's my thing, man. And I think we do put respect on Terence Crawford's name. We said it, that we believe that this is basically a 50-50 fight. Now, I switched to being 51-49 or 52-48, depending on what day it is, based off of seeing those two individuals stand next to each other and always feeling like one of the main assets and weapons that Terence Crawford has is this reach. And when I saw that he wasn't going to have a reach advantage going into this fight, and he would have to be in punching range in order to deliver his shots, I started leaning more towards Errol Spence. But we respect Terence Crawford. From the beginning, we've been saying it's a 50-50 fight. Errol Spence respects Terence Crawford. But at the end of the day, he is the B-side. Let's not get it twisted. He's the B-side.
B-side all the way.
Absolutely. We got the 610 in the building, and I don't ever recall the 610 calling, so I'm not sure who this is. Who do we got on the line?
Mr. Elliott, Kareem Elliott.
What's going on with you?
What's up?
Ain't that much, man. Just sitting back enjoying the show. This is about the last caller with the respect on Terence Crawford's name.
Yeah.
Oh, hell no. I'm not going to sit around and respect the guy that's been leading people on all this time, lying, causing YouTube podcasters to lie in his backups. Hell no. And how do you say that him and Terence Crawford or him and Errol Spence is at the same level in their boxing experience? Oh, hell no. How? I can't see how. You have.
I think he's talking about number of fights.
Well, it seemed like he was saying like, he has the same. He's on the same level of accomplishment at the 147 division, and at the same level of height in popularity at the 147 division. He's not more popular than Errol Spence.
Facts.
Errol Spence been doing 147 since he took the strap off of Kell Brooks. Mm-hmm. He's been collected all the belts. His gates, his output, his pay-per-views has been way, way higher and better than Terence Crawford, who's legendary for Bob Arum saying that he could have bought a mansion off of all the money he's lost on this man. So, last call out. I hope you still here, and I hope you still listening. But no, I don't see how. What y'all Bud fans see when y'all looking at this guy and looking at his track record? I don't know what y'all seeing. Now, he's an all right fighter, and that's all I'm going to give him. I'm not going to say he's great because I can't register that. How do I register him being great when he didn't fight with the other guys who's considered to be great? Like, can you consider some people? Go ahead.
I think this is where the caller was trying to say. I think he's looking at his entire body of work when he's saying that he has more accomplishment. And if you're just talking about your entire body of work, totally agree. Does that have anything to do with being the B-side? Nope. It's popularity.
Yeah.
And to your point, I don't know how great Terence Crawford is because even though he has all those accomplishments, it was against fighters that I don't quite think are A-level fighters. I think he got all those accomplishments at 140 against B-level competition. Does anybody feel like Vic Postal is a A-class fighter? No. Delerme? No. Indongo? No. Ricky Burns? No.
Savage.
So that's why people feel like when you start to when Terence Crawford fans start to grab from his resume to use that to say why he should get this amount of dollars or why he's going to be Errol Spence. That's where they get the pushback. It's not necessarily being disrespectful to Terence Crawford. It is actually analyzing what Terence Crawford truly is and dismissing all that fluff that they're trying to add to him.
Yeah, exactly. But my thing is, I don't even recognize his accomplishments at those weights because he didn't fight anybody. It's like, okay, look, you have a guy in Floyd Mayweather who fought all the champions when it came time to fight all the champions, no matter who they were. He tracked them down, grabbed them up, fought them, took their belts. Errol Spence is out there doing that at the 147 division. So if you put Errol Spence in a ring with those same guys that Bud fought at that 147 division, at the weights that Bud fought him, will he get all the same accolades that Bud's given? I think Bud is a made-up media star. I think they're doing that in order to get this fight through. But as far as him and his accomplishments, I can't say it because Earl would have killed those guys that Bud fought at those lower divisions. I don't see how like Bud can get the recognition for fighting those guys other than them constantly pushing it into our face. If they're not pushing that into our face, then we go back and see those fights. Then we compare them to what's going on now. And then we can say, okay, no, I don't think so. You see what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying. I agree.
They're not giving people the opportunity to go back and watch these fights because they constantly keep saying it. He's pound for pound. Like, a lot of these people who believe in all that now, who's talking all this, I'm a fan of his, probably just jumped on because they hear in the media stuff. Probably never even seen those fights. Like, this guy's on, what was he on just yesterday? He was on Charlemagne the Guy, where he said that Gamboa was one of his toughest fights. Are you kidding me? Yep. Gamboa was one of your toughest fights. Kavaliauskas was another one of your toughest fights. Are you kidding me? You actually said you shouldn't have said nothing. I wouldn't even have bought them. I would have been like, y'all gonna have to change the subject or something because you can't. I'm at 147 right now, calling for these guys at this lower division to be my toughest fights. When the guys that I fought at 147 probably would have killed those two guys. Kell Brook would have killed both Gamboa and Kavaliauskas. We know that for a fact. I even picked up David Benavidez that is David Benavidez he fought, right? Or is that Jose Benavidez?
That's Jose Benavidez that he fought.
This Jose fought with one leg.
Okay, so he probably would have put up he probably would have wiped both of those two dudes that he named as his toughest opponents. And see how that plays out? Styles make fights.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah,
I totally agree.
Yeah, to your point about Gamboa, he also said on the Breakfast Club, he's like, yeah, Gamboa's my hardest because he was small. He was small. He was darting in and out. He said he was small himself. So people want to criticize Spence for his fight against Mikey, saying Mikey was small. What the hell was Gamboa?
Exactly. Coming up from two weight classes. And by the way, Mikey Garcia is an A-class fighter. Just for the folks in there that was saying that he wasn't. Everybody know Mikey Garcia was an A-class fighter. That's why some people were actually picking him over Spence. But go ahead. And by the way, for all those people that like to point at Sugar Ray Leonard, because I've heard a lot of people say, yeah, Sugar Ray said that Terence Crawford gonna win. Sugar Ray also said that Mikey was gonna win. See how that played out, right? Go ahead.
Yeah, exactly with that crazy ass comment about him being Mikey. Yeah, when I seen that interview and I see him say that, I was like, oh my God. And then I just kept reflecting back on the fact that Earl said he's going to beat these guys the way he's going to take away their best and beat them at their own game. He said that in a press conference or in the interview he had, and for some reason he gets criticized for going in there and fighting the fight that he fought against Sean Porter. I mean, this media is so sick with not pointing out the fact that he said that he was going to go in there and do that. He said he was going to go in there and outbox Mikey Garcia because the media was saying that Mikey is the better boxer. I was like, wow. And all these weird people jumping out of the media saying all this weird stuff. And this Terence Crawford fans navigate to it, jump on it, and eat it all up. And I'm like, y'all can't see what's going on here? But then it comes to mind that these people may not even be boxing fans. They may be casual fans of boxing who's just hearing the media and seeing all the propaganda out there.
Facts. I totally agree with that. Anything else you want to share with the people?
No, that's about it, man. I just hope that last guy heard that and he has a better understanding on what on Terence Crawford, because I know he probably is picking him to win. Go back and watch this guy's fight. Go back and watch this guy's fight, and then come up with a better decision, or give a better reason why. I mean, you didn't even break it down why you believe he beat them. Did he break it down?
No.
Or you said he picked
didn't say. He didn't say if he knew. He didn't actually pick. He just said put some respect on his name.
Oh, so yeah. When the people say that, then that means they're picking that guy.
Yeah.
Put some respect on his name for what? It's like, okay, he has a good reason for saying that if he knows all the stuff that I know, all the stuff that you guys know, and all the stuff that the other channels know. If he knows all that, I'm pretty sure he's. Well, then again, he's probably gonna be just weird like those Bud fans and say it anyway, even though you know the facts. Like if you know the facts, it's hard to really. I'm like having really hard problems from trying to pick Terence Crawford to win this fight. I've been visualizing it to try to think about how he can win this fight. I'm not going to sit there and say this man's going to come out with no one-punch knockout power and he's going to knock Errol across the ring and kill him. I'll be damned if I say that. That don't even make sense to me after seeing what I saw. But to pick him to outbox Errol, that's going to be hard to do. Exchange with Errol, that's going to be hard to do. And after seeing these press conferences, seeing the size difference and the length and the height, and the way that Errol fights with the step back, he don't like jump back. He steps back, so he's in a good position to move his head out of the way. Man, I just can't see how. I can visualize Bud doing a lot of things to different people, to like the lower competition. I didn't visualize Bud really beating on Sean Porter. I didn't visualize him beating on Sean Porter.
So that's interesting. That's interesting because I did.
No,
I actually
no.
Go ahead. Now, what were you about to say?
I didn't see before the fight happened. I didn't see him, beating on Sean Porter. Like when they were in the clutch fighting, it looked like Sean was wrestling him and getting the best of him. I didn't visualize him knocking him out. I didn't see that. But as far as the clutch fighting and in close fighting and Sean trying to jump all over him, I thought Sean was going to do that. I didn't see what Bud was going to be able to do to I don't have a record of Bud being able to fight on the inside with you close on top of him and smothering him. He didn't really
fight. Yeah, but I didn't really see him fight like that against Sean. I thought Sean won a lot of the exchanges, but I always thought Bud had an advantage because I always thought that with Sean being shorter with the shorter arms, he was going to have to take risks to get on the inside and leap in. And with a counterpuncher like Terence Crawford, I felt like Sean was actually kind of tailor-made for him.
Like during the fight, when I'm watching the fight, this is what I see. I see Sean jumping all over him in the earlier rounds. And they're even wrestling, or Terence Crawford is getting hit with awkward shots, and it's like trying to get Sean off of him by pushing him or holding. Later rounds, I started seeing Terence Crawford take a step back and try to counter Sean as he's coming in. Now, Terence Crawford takes a step back, gets out of the way of Sean jumping in, and leaves Sean open for all types of stuff. And that started happening in the later rounds. But those earlier rounds, man, I saw Sean jumping on him, and I was like, well, how is Terence Crawford going to end up, how he's going to deal with this throughout the later rounds? And, he did what he say he does. He record the information and take in the data. He did whatever it is that he say he's doing, and then he adjusted. And that was how he went about winning that, getting that knockout. So I respect that. But, that first half of that fight, like I said, I couldn't see. When he actually started implementing that fight and started stepping back, I saw more of that from his previous fight. But when he started fighting him and grabbing him and they was wrestling and stuff, I don't have a memory of him dealing with somebody like that. You see what I'm saying now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's where I was going with that. When I started visualizing that fight, and I know that Sean tries to run you over and shit, I like Paulie Malignaggi. I started thinking to myself, what is Bud going to do to deal with that? Because I haven't seen him being able to fight on the inside, really get in. He does a fighting where he does mid-range fighting and long-distance fighting, and he does a lot of getting out of the way of guys. But when he starts mixing it up, he just starts throwing punches, and for some strange reason, he's on the opposite end of that. He's on the taking side of that. Somebody is hitting him with some shots. So I was like,
Yeah.
when Sean started doing it, I was like, that's how Sean fights. Now I need to see Terence Crawford make a change. He made the adjustment. He did make the adjustment, stepping back and stepping off to the sides on him. So that did get Sean out of here, but that's the way I saw it happening. And it was amazing to me to see him, pull it off with the knockout. But we know how that works. But him and his fighting style, taking that in there with Errol Spence,
Yeah.
it's hard for me to say. It's hard for me to say how that fighting style takes place because I was watching somewhere. It was either one of those interviews. It was either one of those interviews on the radio shows in New York or somewhere else where they might have asked him, what about him stepping straight back? Somebody brought up that he stepped straight back to get out of the way of punches.
Yeah. But hey, we need to move on to the next caller, man. I appreciate you calling in. Is there anything else you want to share with the people before we move to the next one?
No, that's about it, bro. Y'all take it easy and enjoy I'm going to enjoy the rest of the show.
All right. Appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Appreciate it, Kareem.
Thank you for having me on.
We're going to take one more call, guys, and then we're going to wrap up the show. We got the 484 calling in, Jay. 484, you in the building with the Angry Man Podcast. Jason and Greg, who do we have on the line?
Hello?
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 Can you hear us?
Am I really on this podcast?
Yeah, you are. Who do we have on the line?
Call me Ayun.
Who?
Ayun.
Okay, how are you?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Doing well. How old are you?
Doing well.
13.
13. Okay. So usually we don't take 13-year-old calls, but I'm going to go ahead and let you get a question in. What question do you have for us?
I have a question.
Yes.
I know this is not really, for the fight coming up on July 29th, but I want to know who would y'all, because they're trying to say Ryan Garcia might fight Adrian Broner. Who would y'all think might win?
So they're not going to fight, but if those two were to fight, I would pick Ryan Garcia. Jason, who would you pick?
I'll pick Ryan. I'll probably pick Ryan. I pick us for the press conference though. The press conference is gonna be funny.
Absolutely. So, young man, I appreciate you calling in, but again, this show is for adults, okay?
My bad.
No worries. Thank you.
That's okay.
All righty. We had a young man calling in, and I didn't want to hurt the young man's feelings, but you gotta
props to the young man.
Props to the young man. He was brave. He was brave. He's brave. He tried something.
He is listening to boxing. Okay.
Yeah, he tried one. He tried one then. All right, guys. So that was the last call we were going to take. Once again, I want to say, guys, if you haven't had the opportunity, please hit that like button or the dislike button, but make sure that you interact with our content so people can find our content. I want to give a shout out, Jay. I want you to shout out the people that gave to the channel today. I think it was just Mr. Sandman that gave to the channel. So shout out to Mr. Sandman.
And the Cash App.
Yeah, the Cash App. Did I give you his name?
No, you didn't.
Odi Obara. I actually did say his name. You just didn't take it down. Be better. Thank you guys for joining. What? Dog, we didn't win a whole show, man. I only cussed you out once. Don't make me do it again.
I didn't cuss you out at all. So you've been good. I've been good.
Jason, don't make me get that.
I'm trying to be nice.
Yeah, I'm trying to wrap up the show, my brother. I don't want to have to cuss you out doing the wrap up now. I don't want to do that to you. I'm trying to be nice.
13-year-old, we had 13-year-old on here, so I'm being, just wrap the show up, man. Do what you're supposed to do. Okay, just do your job. That's it.
All right, guys. Thank you guys for calling in again. Appreciate it. Everybody that joined the show today. We will be back next week, Sunday at our normal time, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Sunday. We will be dropping content like No Limit albums this week. We got some stuff cooking that we're gonna get done probably later today or tomorrow. So be on. We probably won't drop any more content unless something really pops up that catch our interest. But be on the lookout for more content tomorrow and for the rest of the week. I Again, I want to thank the people that support the channel, Rock Dog Interactive and Black Father Figures. Black Father Figures is the League of Legacy. He's always on the show, so check out what he's doing there. And then also, there's a couple of channels that I want to plug. Number one, I want to plug Chicken Talk. You guys go check Chicken Talk out. He has a Spaces that shows up on his channel, his YouTube channel, which is Chicken Talk, every Saturday at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You have Manager Marty, you have The Real Marlo TV, you got Showboating, and you got The Boxing Source. And of course, the Mic Check Podcast with T Ward. That's like a sister channel to us. Go check them out as well. Appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for your support and your showing up here to talk some boxing with us, and be on the lookout for some more content. Peace.
Yes, sir. Happy Father's Day, y'all.
Happy Father's Day.